Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 77. My name is Patrick. I'm joined by Saif. Say hi.
Yellow.
And Steve. Say hi.
Ultimate Gamer Mode. Engage.
So, normally we're going to go through some kind of intro-y preamble, then we get to Around the Lounge, but I just want to say, I want to open with a bang. I was right. I nailed it. I cliffhangered it at the end of the last episode. Ooh, I wonder what the Monster Hunter update is, and I've been saying for like a month it's a Malzena variant. I was right. You might ask yourself, Patrick, what's it like to be the... I've seen the future because I live at least 2 hours ahead of you two. Future isn't pretty, folks, but, 100% success rate on calling what's going to happen so far. Steve, who did you want to win the State of Origin?
The Blues, the New South Wales team.
Yeah, and I knew that would lose.
Happening.
Yeah, I knew that would lose. 100% success rate. I did, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, cool. Wonderful. What about next week?
Let's go into the Maroons again as well, and then we're just going to play Game 3, and the Blues will win that one, but it'll be hopeless anyway.
No. I don't care. The Blues have it in Suncorp.
Second hot Oracle take. I don't think anyone listened to Fast Builders Lounge.
That's a fucking lie. I get... That not only is that a lie, that's hurtful. You know what?
Absolute slander.
How many contracts have you taken since Fast Builders Lounge episode 1 dropped?
Oh, about 75.
What?
Yeah? Literally every episode we do, some guy brings me up and is like, I need you to build something. So I build him something.
Can you build a better cover story? Because that one's a bit leaky.
I don't think there's 75 episodes of Fast Builders Lounge.
I don't think there is either.
Yeah, you guys got some sauce on that? Just looking a bit dry at the moment. Might need some Tommy sauce or something. Some Steven sauce, if you would.
I really don't want any of Steven's sauce.
I don't think I need sauce on this one. I think you need to provide the source of the episodes existing.
No, because then he's going to provide Steve's sauce, and then we're back to square one. I don't want Steve's sauce.
Finally, you guys fell into my trap. I will see you all tonight.
What do you mean? I avoided the trap.
No, you wanted the Steven sauce? You're getting the Steven sauce.
No, Saif can have mine.
Nope.
Saif can get the double up.
Oh, if I'm giving Saif double, I might as well give you double.
Well, no, I'm on a diet, actually.
I don't want to double up. I want to double down. When's KFC bringing that back?
Oh, what a transition.
Do you want it with Steven sauce? What do you think the secret sauce is?
Why do you think Steve's banned from every KFC in Australia?
Tastes too good.
Oh, was he the guy that put up the McChicken video?
Cut to commercial.
Let's just say there's an 8th secret herb and spice, but we don't talk about that one anymore.
The longer these tangents go on, the more Steven regrets it by the end.
That's funny. That's what everyone says about his sauce. Man. Anyway, the other thing we should probably say up front, actually this would probably be in the show notes, but for those that don't read those, like me most of the time, to be honest, we will talk about Spider-Verse, but we'll do that at the end, rather than as part of the weekly scheduled programming. So this is my only plug now to say, please go and watch it. I have seen it twice, and it would be great if everyone else did as well.
Yeah, I want to see it a second time.
But we'll talk about it at the after the news rather than beforehand. So that's what we're going to say about Spider-Verse. Other than Spider-Verse, what else have you been up to this week other than your sauce, Steve?
Well, look, we both know, and by both I mean all three of us, know that I am probably one of the gamers in this podcast. And I want to say that I might be the reddest gamer because I finished Redfall.
You mean you're the fallest gamer?
Patrick, I don't think I want to do this podcast anymore. If I have to go another week listening to Redfall, I think I'm going to off myself in Minecraft.
Yeah, look, I'll be quite honest with you. Now that I finished with it, suicide rates have plunged to 0 because I don't have to fucking play that game anymore.
It's like sort of opens with his sauce, and the chaser is, and I finished Redfall. Is this a cry for help, Steve?
Yeah, probably. Well, it's 19 hours, 11 minutes of my life and never going back. But I do not want to spend any more time on that. I just wanted to brag about the fact that I could get through Redfall, because we always finish what we start here at Fast Travel Lounge. But I, at one of the games that was had a recent game demo drop, Lies of P. I played about an hour of that, and I'll tell you what. What do you mean why? Okay, so. Well, you asked, so I'm going to tell you why, and you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
So you know me as a man that likes his Game Pass, right? Would you say that's correct?
No, I've never once heard you say you like Game Pass.
Well, man, do I have a story for you? So this Game Pass, right, is a Microsoft product. I'm not going to do that. So Liza P is actually releasing on Game Pass day one. And it did look interesting to me, but I wanted to play it before, like, in case it becomes a Redfall situation where it's like, oh, it looks good. I get it day one Game Pass. Because I started the game and it's shit, I have to finish the game and I don't want to do that. But whereas a demo, if it's shit, I don't have to play it. So I just wanted to check it out.
You played a slice of the game, now you have to finish it.
No, that's not how it works.
Yep.
I make the autistic rules, I get to follow them, Steph.
It's true. Steve is in control of the remote that says the volume can only be on multiples of 2 or 5.
He's correct for that, though.
He is.
Sometimes I put it at a cheeky 7.
I hate disgusting. You. I don't want to do the podcast anymore.
But yeah, so I played Liza P.
If you leave, then it really is Fast to Builders Lounge, and we can't have that.
Finally, this is always the long plan. I gotcha. But yeah, Liza P. That's it. What have you been up to, Seth?
I played the entirety of the Street Fighter 6 story mode. I didn't pay any attention to Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I think the last update I gave on that game is I did my second dungeon, and that is exactly where I left off while I went and finished Street Fighter. Yeah, it's good. I'll get into that when it's time. Patrick, what are you up to?
I'm so taken aback by this weird triangle of segues. Monster Hunter and a little bit more Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3 type stuff.
We get it. Borderlands 2 is your favorite game of all time.
Let me tell you why. This time I'll only need an hour, I swear.
Yeah, just a small chat about Borderlands.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I think every week that Redfall has shown up, so has Borderlands 2.
I really hate that stat, Seth.
No, they cancel each other out. Redfall's like a bad to mid game. Redfall's more mid than bad. Maybe this is Stockholm Syndrome. Anyway, look, I don't want to talk about it.
Why don't I just get the Borderlands update out of the way? I know we're all thinking it. Played a bit more, still fun. Turns out everyone else is moving into Borderlands 3, which means I've been blue balled and still not OP10 because it's just too hard to grind to OP10 myself. But Borderlands 3, turns out I don't know. Maybe this is a question for the group, but I remember grinding Borderlands 2 a lot. I don't remember grinding Borderlands 3 that much, but when I jumped on Borderlands 3, boy howdy, have I grinded a lot. I just have so much gear, like Ultra, Mayhem 10, endgame level gear, before they raised the level cap as part of Director's Cut, which means that almost all of it is worthless now. And I need to do a bit more grinding for the level 72 stuff. But anyone else had that? Where they go to boot up a game they haven't touched in a while and they're like, wow, I actually did play a lot of this.
Yeah. But at the same time, actually not really. Like, if I go to...
Which is it?
If you let me finish. So it's a lot of...
Never. I actually feel like that I do the opposite where I play a game and it turns out it's less than I expected. Like, I thought I was further in than I actually am when I come back to it.
Really? Oh,
no, I've never had that.
Usually what I do is I just sort of play a game until I burn out, put it down and don't visit it for 5 years, and then boot it back.
Unless it's Redfall and you're like, you know what?
I was burnt out of that for a while.
I'll push through the pain barrier for this one. Anyway, yeah, like literal 2-minute Borderlands update. But no, I just thought that was funny. I jumped back on and I'm like, man, I now understand why some of my characters have multiple days worth of playtime on them. Why don't we jump to Steve's Liza P?
Oh, Liza P.
Does the P stand for Patrick?
Well, no, actually, the P stands for Pinocchio.
Interesting.
You would have been smart ass, but anyway. So, Liza P.
How many lives are in a demo?
Yeah, cool, but shut the fuck up. So, Liza P is a game
I think he took that personally.
I think he did too, and it's funny because I'm the one that lies all the time because my name is P.
Yeah, well, I was going to make the lies joke, but you've fucking stolen it from me, so what's the fucking point?
Is it the video game adaptation of Life of Pi?
I didn't actually
No.
think you were going to go for the lie joke. I thought I was just trying to be badly funny with that.
No, you're a fuckwit. Well, so for some reason, like, so I saw the trailer
Again,
for
I
this
think
game.
he's taking this personally.
Yeah,
God damn it.
It's the annoying thing is, I really wish he'd just fucking speak and just tell us about it. But instead, we've spent like nearly a minute, and I don't think we've heard anything about this.
So Lies of P is a game. I'm just waiting for the interruption. Okay, so
Hit you when you least expect.
to make. Yeah, I know. So to continue on with that Lives of Pi joke, making it a video game adaptation, I saw this trailer. I saw the announcement that it's going to become a demo, and I still searched for Lives of P, like 3 times in the Xbox store before I'm like, this game doesn't exist. Then I googled it, and I'm like, it's Lies of P.
I can't believe the Xbox Live Store lied to you like that. Wait. And Phil Spencer's name starts with a P. Plot thickens.
Ooh, hang on. Let him cook.
Game Pass was a lie the entire time.
Well, hey, I'm passed down to the P as well. Wait a minute.
Every time Phil Spencer lies, Game Pass gets bigger.
Well, there's a lot of games on there. Yeah, so anyway. So Lies of P is a Soulsborne type game that is, well, its release date is the 19th of September, and it's pretty much coming up for everything. Like old gen, this gen, like the PlayStations, the Xbox Ones, this gen, the Series X, the S, PlayStation 5, and PC. It is not coming to the Switch. And big surprise, the game is loosely based on Pinocchio, that the book, not the Disney cartoon. The book's a lot darker.
What about the
say-
live action movie?
I have seen neither of those. Apparently, the Guillermo del Toro one's good, but I have not seen it.
Yeah.
But I think it's more the fact that it's got puppets is the reason it's inspired by Pinocchio, and I think the main character's name's Pinocchio. Actually, I don't know what he's referred to as, but anyway. So, and this game is, I played it for an hour. Some might say I got filtered by the first boss. Some might say that I just got filtered by the first boss. Like, I didn't want to spend the time getting to know all the combos, and I got a bit frustrated. But anyway, I'll get to that. So this is a very Soulsborne type game. If I had to compare it to anything in terms of its thematical setting, it'd be Bloodborne. Saif, I know you're a big fan of Bloodborne. Pat, I get the feeling you haven't played Bloodborne.
I have actually. I have
Ooh.
killed Lucius, who's the like ultra Ludwig.
Ludwig?
Yeah. I've killed
Yeah,
Ludwig.
the DLC boss.
That's the one.
Yeah. Well, so and Bloodborne has a very big gothic and horror element.
Yes.
Whereas Lies of P, it very much feels like a spin-off of Bloodborne, or it's everyone's always, there'll be a Bloodborne remake soon, and those people are as delusional as the Switch believers.
No, it's coming.
but-
It's coming, bro.
Now,
Trust me.
let's be fair, I've only ever been a Switch believer, and I feel like that's less delusional than Bloodborne 2 believers.
Well, Bloodborne 2 is more believable than a Bloodborne remake. For some reason, Sony just doing nothing with that game. But yeah, anyway, so thematically, Lies of P is a lot of gothic and a lot of horror, but it sort of molds that with not quite steampunk, but it's like the whole like 50s future electric, like there's a bunch of automatons that are like swinging swords at you and stuff. It's kind of like that. It is, it is a Soulsborne. There's a lot of dodging. There's iframes you got to use. It literally gives you like after 5 minutes of gameplay of walking through a train, it gives you, which build do you want? Do you want a dex build, a balance build, or a strength build? And because I'm always unga bunga strength, I pick strength, and then I just had pretty much no problems. I was cutting through things.
Where's all
There's
the
a couple
bros?
in bros. It's not your time. But at the same time, I get the feeling it's just the first level, like first probably I think it's 2 hours long of the game, and it might sort of get a bit longer. Get a bit more detailed as you go on and as you get different weapons. But I never really experienced that, so I don't really think it. There might be a bunch of builds or something that go later on, but I didn't experience it. I don't think you could experience it in the demo because, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't really give you a lot of choice in like weapons. Like,
Yeah, I'm going to do the thing that Steven absolutely loves, and that's parroting something that a friend of mine told me on Discord while we were talking about this, because he was trying to sell me on it.
Seth, you can come clean. You don't have any friends on Discord.
Are we recording this on Discord?
We're not even real.
But we're not friends on Discord. We're just in the same server. But yeah, no, he's told me that about this whole system where your moveset is tied to the handles of weapons, and the blades of the weapons are what determines your stats for them. So
took it out of my fucking mouth, you bastard.
Yeah, so I'm just repeating it. Yeah, so he said he's played around with it a little bit, like having a great sword stats line on the end of his rapier handle and having the rapier blade on the end of like a club handle. So there's a few little things in the demo that you can play with that kind of shows the experimentation that's going on in the game. And I think he said there's only like 2 of the robot arms in the game that act as like tutorial things, and he's trying to sell me on that as well by saying, yeah, they're just Nero arms from Devil May Cry.
Well, so I was going to get into the robot arm. So yeah, it's essentially like you've got one arm for swinging swords, and then you got one arm for doing like robot arm shit. And I didn't find that second robot arm probably because I couldn't beat the boss. But it does like with nothing equipped, it did like a really good charge attack that like took forever to wind up. But once I hit something, it was like a 1-hit KO. And I get the feeling there's like a lot of ways you can sort of switch it out. And from what I've seen online as well, seems like you might be able to turn it into a gun or something that shoots guns, or a shield, I think, as well. So
yeah, I've seen one that turns into like an umbrella that acts as a shield.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So it does sort of seems like there will be a lot of customization and all that kind of thing, which is probably in its interest, and there is a weird weapon like degradation mechanic in this game, and I think it is the most fucking jarring thing, and it really turned me off. So the more you can guard with your right-handed weapon, and if you like perfectly time the guard, it like staggers the thing. But the more, if you hit someone with your weapon, if you guard with your weapon, it sort of takes away, there's like a bar in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and it takes away the durability. And if your durability gets below, I think, about a quarter, it starts doing less damage. And if that durability bar like is empty, your weapon breaks and that's it, 2 bucking back. And so to get the durability up, you've got like a grinder on like your mechanical arm, and you're essentially like grinding on the weapon to raise that bar. And especially with bosses that take like a lot of time to hit, it breaks the pace, and it's like, oh shit, I've got to go and recharge my fucking sword or sharpen my sword. And if you're not really paying attention to it, before you know it, you're like, oh shit, like I've 2 more hits and like my sword's going to break. I better do it now while I'm in combat. Like, I think it was very jarring. I can sort of see where they're going, like realistically the sword would chip and damage, but I don't really like it.
That's really similar, but also more punishing than the sharpening system that's in Monster Hunter. Like, it sounds really similar to that, except
literally took it out of my fucking mouth, man. Do you want to do this? I was literally just about to compare it,
I'm
like
just
to the
trying to
sharpening
engage
thing
in
in
conversation. I'm sorry that I keep taking your points right before you say them.
Get out of my head. But
I
yeah,
am
like
literally
it does.
in your walls reading your mind.
Ooh. But yeah, like it does. The thing in Monster Hunter, like you can like get better gear that either, like let's say your purple sharpness, you do more damage, and you can break through certain things. Like whereas this, like it's like the Monster Hunter thing seems to be a bit more rewarding for having better sharpness, whereas this is like punishing you and making sure that it's just another mechanic to track. And don't get me wrong, I hate the sharpening mechanic in Monster Hunter as well. But I hated this especially. Like, I will admit it does look fucking cool when like you've got like a grinder on your arm and you are putting the sword up against it. That looks fucking sick. And this game is very cool looking in what it does. Like, it's borderline edgy cool. Like when you're attacking through enemies, like you're getting covered in gore, like it's just oil because they're automatons, but like it's still fucking cool. But yeah, I hated that grinding feature to make sure that you. But it's not even like grinding; it's the sharpening mechanic. But yeah, maybe there's other ways. Maybe other weapons don't do it so well. Also, don't degrade as much. Maybe it's just sort of the starting equipment. Yeah, and it has a weird thing like with their equivalent of like Estus Flask or whatever it was in Elden Ring, the Graces or whatever they were. The things to recover health. They're like batteries, and you recover those batteries by hitting enemies. So let's say I'm pretty sure you start with like 3 batteries. Let's say you use one of them. I think it takes, by my count, it was about 10 hits. 10 hits of an enemy, and then like you'd restore the battery. So it sort of rewards you for like being a bit more offensive. And if you don't have any batteries left and you do want to recover your health, it's like, okay, if I can get a couple more hits in a row, I can get a battery and then recharge it. And I did like that. This game seems a lot more focused on the iframes and getting hits in than defense. Like you can't, the Dark Souls, put a shield up and hope for the best. I will say though that the boss is like this really big master of puppets automaton type of thing, and its iframes are fucking weird. Like if I'm trying, like if he's got his legs like in like if his leg is sort of sticking out a little bit, and I'm trying to roll towards the leg, I'm getting caught on his knee, and it just doesn't seem intuitive. Like I can't, and maybe this is because I'm going right instead of left. But if he's doing a sweeping attack that goes left, naturally I'd want to go right and like go underneath it. But because his knee's there, I'm getting trapped at the knee. It just seems like he's got a very frustrating hitbox. So I spent like 15 minutes fucking around with it. I'm like, nah, cool, I'm done. I get the gist of it. But yeah, graphically it looks good. The voice acting is fantastic, and the voice effects they have as well. Like there's someone talking to you and their voice is crackling, and it seems like realistic's a strong word, but like it's very well done. Like the special effects they've done, it's pretty well. But yeah, it does seem to play very close to the chest of a Soulsborne. And if people are into Soulsbornes, which I definitely am, it's probably like a definite get. Like everyone's saying like Wo Long is sort of like a Soulsborne, but it's not really. It's an action RPG, whereas this is definitely a Soulsborne. It feels like a Soulsborne. It plays like a Soulsborne. And I did enjoy my time, but it will not be a day one pickup for me. Like I didn't fall in love with it as much as I thought I would.
So you're going to wait for it to come to Game Pass like everything else?
Well, it comes to the Game Pass day one anyway. And that's why I wanted to know if I should play it on day one. And like it didn't get me as excited as what I thought it would.
So this is going to be one of those games where when they say it's being delisted of Game Pass, you're going to quickly grind through it. Most likely, yes. Or either that, or if I'm going through Game Pass and if I feel like playing a Souls-like, but I don't want to replay in Dark Souls or Elden Ring, I might play this instead. It sort of just depends on the mood and stuff, but highly likely, Saif, if they are delisting it, I will come pick it up and I have 15 days when they announce it to play it, which is never a fun time because I hate rushing it, but yeah. And it'll also be the point where you have to get all the achievements in that 15 days as well.
Only if it's a really good game. Games 9 and above get all the achievements in. Sometimes even in a game that's an 8 if it's easier. But yeah, apparently there is some I was reading one of the developer interviews and there is like a weird dialogue system and you can lie to people or something.
Oh, wow. Do they roll the credits when you do that?
Hopefully. We need you to find the Pinocchio.
Lies of P, not lie of P. You need to go and see all of them.
I'm looking forward to the speedrun category where it's tell your first lie.
I like this game and just fades to black.
I will finish this game. Credits roll.
Yeah, but it does. Yeah, there is some sort of weird dialogue thing. I didn't interact with that. I'm not even sure if it is in the demo, and I'm not sure if that means there's more story focus. But I'm not sure if that's the reason that people would come to a game like this. So I think it's a wait and see. It's a wait and see for me. Let's see what happens.
it's hard to gauge if people come to these for a story reason, because I'm going to be honest, there hasn't been a good story in a Soulsborne game yet. There's good world building and good characters and lore,
Yes.
but there hasn't been a good story.
Yeah, and I don't think this will break the trend. Like the whole thing with those sort of Soulsborne games is it should be focused on the world building. It shouldn't be focused on the story, if that makes sense. But it should be focused on the gameplay, actually. But yeah, that's enough. I'm done.
My man out here, tarnished and maidenless. Cool. Thank you for that, Steve. I will just quickly spout off about how much of an oracle I was with the latest Monster Hunter update. What did they add? They added a bunch of new event quests. Haven't looked at them yet. I'm sure they're fine. It's like the rest of the event quests they keep adding. Add a couple new decorations, which I sort of expected they would add. Most of them are part of what you need to get out of the Primordial Malzeno. And of course, the big thing being Primordial Malzeno, which they've added. And this being the final update for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which brought a tear to my eye. So going into it, I had an assumption of how this would play, given how much of a celebration the end of Iceborne was with the big Fatalis fight and how awesome that was. This was not that. It was not a letdown, but it definitely didn't feel like the end of a year's worth of free content updates. Like they didn't really send off Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak like I thought they perhaps could, which was a bit of a shame. And so what is the fight? So this is kind of why part of me thought that how they ended it with Amatsu was sort of in some ways almost better, because it's this big, like, well-known set piece monster as the big finale, and the armor is significantly better than other armor and everything else. Primordial Malzeno's a bitch. I got fucking murdered 3 times in 6 minutes when I tried it the first time. And so the second time, you know that move that you do where you like lean forward in the chair and you're like, now he will try.
The gamer pose.
That's the
Gamer
one.
pose, yeah.
I handed the controller to my older brother, which is me. I'm the oldest. And then I started trying. And by started trying, I mean went and actually collected the health increases rather than just running straight into Malzeno. Which, to be fair, on the 6-minute failed run, he was in like the second area, so it didn't make a lot of sense to detour around the entire map collecting upgrades. But boy, did I do that on the second run. Took probably 5 minutes to just run through all the paths that I know that give you a bunch of little boosties before actually trying to fight him alongside an armor drug and a demon drug. The fight itself, it's a really cool fight. It's not like a it's kind of weird, right? Because Malzeno is an elder dragon, like Amatsu and Fatalis and all these other sort of like big set piece dragons. But you fight it in the Citadel, which makes sense because that's sort of the big area that they introduced with Sunbreak. And it is a cool area. And it's the only monster in the area, which I thought was interesting. But the fight itself, it's not that grand. It's more like just a really like you've like taken a Malzeno and it's snorted a shit ton of Ritalin and it's just going absolutely nuts on you. The attack patterns are similar but quite like there's like a little bit of similarity with regular Malzeno, but it also has a bunch of new tricks up its sleeve which caught me out a lot. But particularly towards the end, it has like a big super attack like you'd expect other Elder Dragons to have, and that is a pretty cool looking attack, but it's no cooler looking to me than, say, Shigaru Magala or other kind of things we've seen before. And again, I think back to Fatalis, and it's like literally melting part of Castle Black, and it's like, oh, this is what you've been training for. Before you go into the fight, they were like, hey, we've noticed that there is this prophecy that we thought ended with Gaesmagorm, which was funny because that was the kind of secret final boss of base game Rise. And then, turns out there was a second part of the prophecy. We have to go fight a Primordial Malzeno. And then, spoilers by the way, but I don't think anyone plays Monster Hunter for the story. Speaking of Soulsborne and all the other stuff that's got great world building.
I didn't know
and shit
Monster.
story.
I didn't know Monster Hunter had the stories. Isn't the stories just fighting monster?
What,
No,
are
the
we talking
story is
about
more
Monster Hunter
complicated than that.
stories?
It's save monsters to save ecology.
Yeah. It's,
I hate the environment, but
Yeah. How's your botany skills? Have you photographed all those rocks yet? Yeah. So
I have
so the
not
whole
done a
thing
single
is,
photography mission in Rise.
You're missing out. The photography missions in World were also a pain. Some of them are kind of cool. They give you extra bonuses, but some of them are just like, why? pad the game. And so you go into it, and you're fighting Primordial Melzino, and then what was funny was after getting my ass kicked in 6 minutes, and me now game opposing on the second run, I turned out I took out part of his tail, which, because it's a Melzino tail break, it not look like I took out the tail, and so I went to leave the area, and then I went, oh, there's the tail icon on the map, I should go carve that. Carved the 1% gem out of the tail before even killing it.
that's all right. That's what you want, isn't it?
That sounds
Oh,
like
no,
a me
it is.
move.
It's fantastic, but it's just the idea of me going from getting my ass whipped 3 times in a row and some pity like scales as at least you tried consolidation to getting the super ultra rare carve out of the tail without even killing him the second time. It was normally my luck is absolute ass in Monster Hunter, and everyone that plays with me can attest to that. So it was just nice to finally get one back.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would pull fighting a DLC monster or a
or an Elmadron.
or an Almadron. Just come
Yeah.
in, one hunt, get the 1% drop, leave.
Or come in, fight the Chameleos, die, fail the quest, leave.
No, I stayed, and then I got a 1% drop after making everyone carts.
Pretty sure we failed it.
You
Anyway,
are the fucking devil. You are the fucking devil. Holy shit, Saif. Oh no, sorry everybody, we died. Oh yeah, by the way, I get the good item.
I didn't actually mean to die. Like, I was going in like, oh yeah, no, I'll fucking die and card on you as a joke.
That's
but I forgot
right.
to put on my buffer health.
Yeah.
So I actually just did get one shot the moment I landed there, and so I was like, no, I'll stick around. I'll help you guys fight the Chameleos for real. And we did it like no problem, and I got a 1% drop off that.
I'm pretty sure we failed that, but you got the 1% on the end screen just because we broke
I
its
got
head or
the
something.
1%. I got the 1% on the Chameleos were killed. I don't think I got any rewards for the one that I carded on because I came in that late.
Yeah, okay. That makes a bit more sense. So we are now into the end game of this Primordial Melzino fight. It goes to the middle of the area. Fiorane is talking about actually, I don't really know what she's talking about. She's just kind of going on about like, oh, maybe the Curios, because the whole point, Primordial Melzino is a Melzino that hasn't been infected by the Curios. The Curios being the weird little bug.
Isn't that a cereal?
It is, actually, yeah. And so this Melzino hates cereal, much more of a toast guy in the mornings.
It's a cereal killer, some might say.
Hey, there we go.
Toast is the breakfast of champions.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the cereal and the toast.
No, those things were meant to mix together. we do not have breakfast mixing at this household.
And so we're now. It's clear that I've done enough damage to it that it's sort of entering its kind of final phase. And it is kind of cool that while the fight's going on, Curios sort of infect it periodically, and then it supercharges its attacks, and then you can kind of break it out of the Curios spell. And so at the end, it's kind of fully succumbing to the Curios, and the Ritalin that it snorted was also mixed with like crack cocaine for this last stint, where it actually just blitzes around the area, just throwing attack after attack, and then after about a minute, it'll just stop and just be visibly tired for like 10 or 15 seconds, and that's your window. And as soon as that window's up, it goes back to just non-stop attacking. You can't hit it. You're just running for your life. And then it tires itself out and then stops. And so it's that as a painful ass process for a couple minutes. And then I finally defeat it. Notice I didn't say kill, because you get the repel end screen. I'm thinking, here's the big finale. We're going to go and finish the job. And so, no, it goes to the Citadel Castle, where it then starts attacking the Curios, and then Fiorane, who up until this point was like, no, beat the dragon to death, sees that it's fighting the Curios, and then goes, we must help this primordial Malzeno, who, need I remind everyone, has lost its tail at this point and probably hates me. And so it just plays out a cutscene. It's a cutscene of my character, who, by the way, is almost entirely naked except for a sonic hat, and the buff body gamma layered armor, sprinting into battle to fight alongside this primordial Malzeno to kill all these curio bugs. And then the cutscene just stops, and then a new cutscene plays with a couple dead bugs on the ground, Malzeno giving you this knowing nod, and then flying off into the sunset. And I guess also left a bunch of like shards and scales and horns and things. I didn't actually check. I assume I've now unlocked it as an optional quest that I can go and defeat. I don't know if going and doing it again means I can actually kill it, or if it'll just constantly be this repel thing. But it was kind of weird. It was just like, you've gone and you've repelled Primordial Malzeno. Cool, go back to camp. Everyone back at camp is like, wow, you went and repelled Primordial Malzeno. That's great. I guess we did it, Patrick. We saved the town. Anyway, let's have a big party. Please stick around and don't leave.
The way you describe that cutscene, like the one where Malzeno leaves, it's just like Malzeno saw you, recognized you as a Sonic fan, and decided it wasn't having any of this shit and left.
Well, the thing was, it didn't have to see me. It could probably smell me before it saw me.
I said Sonic fan, not Smash fan.
So yeah, it was a little. I don't know. It's not that it's disappointing. It's just they nailed the send off in Iceborne, and so part of me really wanted to see something. I honestly didn't think it would match Iceborne, but I also didn't think it would miss this hard. Because the difference is, right, the Amatsu fight, the previous one, was this big, one of the characters has the special ties with it, and you go and actually fucking kill it, and by killing it, you've kind of ended this reign of destruction that it has, and it's this big moment. Whereas here, you go and beat up the shiny dragon for 20 minutes, and then you fight with the shiny dragon off screen for about 30 seconds, and then the shiny dragon flies off into the sky, and then everyone celebrates you as being a hero. And it doesn't feel Monster Hunter-y to end it that way. It's a bit of a shame. But the armor set is very, very good. The weapons are insane. They, I think, all have lifesteal just by default on them. And at least the dual blades, they come with 3 level 4 slots on the weapons, which is absolutely bonkers, as well as very high roar and very high dragon. So I will definitely be making those weapons at some point. And the whole armor set is designed around, you get lifesteal because it's a Malzeno. That's Malzeno's big armor thing. You get lifesteal from attacking, but then you also get an attack boost based on how much you lifesteal. So it's this kind of cool cyclic mechanic. But annoyingly, it seems like it also really favors dual blades, which again is what Amatsu did. And the armor set itself, other than having a ton of level 4 slots, isn't any higher defense than the Amatsu armor. So, I don't know, it doesn't feel send-offy. Because at the end of, again, to compare it to Iceborne, the Fatalis armor, particularly Fatalis Beta, was, here are these generically good skills, like max HP, max stamina, just by default by wearing the armor, and I think 1 or 2 other kind of just good generic skills. And then here is just every slot at max. So you can just gem whatever you want in the armor set's yours. Have fun. And it's got some of the best stats in the game in terms of defense. It's more kind of like the game ended with Amatsu, and here's like another boss. Just another thing to go and do. The fight, for me at least, was a lot harder than Amatsu, and I will be fighting it again multiple times to complete, an armor set of it and also get some of the weapons. But it just, it's kind of a shame that, and so to know that is the end of Monster Hunter Rise is a little bit of sweet. Capcom lauded as being great and how much free content that they've pushed out for this game, but just not the send off that I want, but at the same time makes me very excited to see what the next Monster Hunter installment is, because we're starting to get to that time when the next one should be getting some kind of announcement in the next little bit.
What would you have expected it? What would a good send off look like? Like, it sounds like it's, as somebody who's not really got any skin in the game, that seems like an all right send off.
So I think the thing with Monster Hunter has always been, here is this big looming threat. You need to go and defeat the big looming threat. The problem with what they did with Primordial Malzeno is they hype it up as this is a monster that hasn't been infected by the Curios, because that's what regular Malzeno is. But in the cutscene, it shows the Curios attacking it. And throughout the fight, the Curios are attacking it. And so then, even when you defeat it, there's this whole thing of, the call was coming from inside the house. The Malzeno was working with us to defeat Chiasmagorm and all this other stuff. But it never, it leads this kind of dumb, almost cliffhanger on, okay, if the Curios were the biggest threat the whole time, what is the send-off? Like the whole, like, Monster Hunter is this whole big sort of ecology, and you're fighting to keep everything in balance. But the whole Curios system is, here is this thing that's constantly causing an imbalance. What I want the send-off for Sunbreak to be is that Curios is this big thing that Sunbreak tried to do, which works pretty well in terms of as a system. I've certainly come around to it because of the quality of life updates they put into it. I talk about this pretty much every update that they put out. But we never defeat what the source of the Curios is, and everyone just kind of looks at each other and goes, I guess the real enemy are the Curios. And then Malzeno flies into the sunset, and you're like, so if that's the last update, okay, like what are we doing? You know, like we're not in an any better, like I guess to put it a different way, after fighting the shiny dragon for 20 minutes and having it sent off into the sunset, we are in a no better place than before we fought the shiny dragon for 20 minutes. And in Monster Hunter, that feels like a problem.
Yeah, I think what I was actually, yeah, no, that does sound like it would be frustrating. It's like, well, those guys are the real bad guys, but they're not. Well, no, sorry, but they are, but you just can't do anything about it.
Kinda, yeah. And it's like, okay, Malzeno flies into the sunset. Does that mean that it's now permanently cured from all of the Curios? Because, you know, it seems like every other cutscene is it constantly fighting Curios. So what role do we play in this other than cutting off its tail?
I must go now. My people need me.
This is like,
do you need any help? No.
Yeah. It's the same problem that I had with The Boys season 3 of, okay, we've caused our own problem by attacking the dragon. We've now solved our own problem by driving it away. We're now no better off than where we started. Hooray, everyone, we did it.
We saved the city.
Yeah, we've unfucked the situation that we initially fucked. I don't know, a little odd. And then to also have the defense of the Primordial Malzeno armor be the same as Amatsu is kind of a shame. It's basically if you're a dual blades main, or if you're someone that wants to build lifesteal into weapons, fight Primordial Malzeno, and it's great. But the Amatsu armor is just generically really, really good. And so, I don't know. I know that it's a really hard sell to compare it to the Fatalis finale in Iceborne, but knowing that is how you could end a game, it's really hard to not then use that as the benchmark for other ones. But
interesting.
Overall, looking back on a year of content, excellent game. Annoyingly, it still wouldn't be my favorite Monster Hunter game. I think that would probably go to all up. I'd probably say Iceborne was still my favorite, and then For You as a second place, just from the variety and breadth of stuff. And funnily enough, I'm actually finishing off Generations on 3DS with a friend in little fits and starts over the past couple weeks. Did another couple quests tonight. We're closing in on the last Deviant because finally, about 7 years now after it came out, we might finally get to Generations Ultimate, and I can finally see what fighting Atlakar is, because everyone says that fight is amazing. And I think that's also where Valstrax initially, that's Valstrax's home game. So
Is
yeah.
Generations Ultimate like the really final big dick 3DS game that had everything in it?
So it's not available on 3DS. Generations came out on 3DS, and then Generations Ultimate was Switch.
Right. Okay.
So
I
you
just
can
know
pull-
one of them is like super big. We've got everything you've ever wanted from the 3DS games in this one.
Yeah, that's Generations Ultimate. That's available on Switch, and that.
Wait, I think Ultimate was on 3DS in Japan and only came to Switch in the US, wasn't it? Or is it just straight up Switch only?
I thought it was just straight up Switch only because of how massive it is. I didn't think the DS would. Oh, I might have to go double check that now. I'm not sure. In any case, it is the giant big dick one, the 100%. I mean, the 100% mark.
Sorry,
I double checked it's on 3DS in Japan.
That makes me sad. The 100% time to beat for Generations Ultimate is fucking wild at several hundred hours. But it's kind of hard to quantify what 100% of a Monster Hunter game is. Anyway, bleeding on for a bit longer than I thought we would, but probably my final discussion of Monster Hunter, at least Sunbreak, up until either new Monster Hunter is announced or I finally finish Generations and move on to Generations Ultimate. Either way, exciting times. Actually, no, there's also Stories 2, which I think you've finished, Steve.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
I believe
I'm still
you have not.
picking my way-
It's a very different game. Very different game.
It is 100%. But I'm still picking my way through little bits of that when I feel like playing the Switch, which is not often with everything else available.
I didn't realize you got it on the Switch. I thought you got it on the PC.
I
It was
did
available
not.
on PC.
I saw you say that it was very cheap on Switch, and I went,
Oh, you actually did buy it. Cool.
Wowee, Steve. This is the one time you are correct. I will also buy it for a heavily discounted price on Switch.
Yes, very cool.
I was going to say, speaking of heavily discounted, but that doesn't really make any sense. Saif, Street Fighter 6.
Yay, Street Fighter time. I went and did the entirety of the world tour. In the end, it took me 27 hours to finish. I did almost all the side quests. The only one I have left is doing the one that extends into the post game, and I need to grind out my levels to go and fight the enemies properly, unless I just try to do chip damage against them while they kill me in 2 hits. But yeah, overall, this was a really fun mode. I have some positive points, I have some negative points, but I'm just gonna run down like a dot list of what happens in the story in this, and then like expand on those points after finishing that off. So the story of this is that like your character enrolls into a gym that's run by Luke, and Luke becomes your coach, and you run into a character named Bosch in this. He ends up becoming your rival, and after having a quick fight with him, Luke kind of tells you, look, if you want to know the meaning of strength, then go out there, explore the world, hit the street, sort of thing. Go out together, learn the ropes together, like just try to become friends for a little bit. And that happens. You go through a short tutorial section, you get closer to Bosch, and then at the end of the tutorial, both of you 2v1 Luke to try and like prove that you've gotten confidence through this little journey of going around eating pizza and buying clothes together. But after that fight, and this is a fight that you can either win or lose, but I lost this one. Bosch gets mad at like the situation because he wants to be strong now. He wants to like he's in a big rush to get as strong as possible. And he's kind of edgy about it. And just kind of leaves. So the next little bit of the story is just, well, the majority of the story mode is where did Bosch go? What happened with him? So the first time you run back into him, he's stealing a handbag from the Mad Gear gang, which is a gang that's from the Final Fight series. And so once he gets away, you kind of get caught up in the middle of it, and they're like, look, here's your friend, go catch up to him, bring us back the bag. And instead of finding Bosch and bringing back the bag full of money, you go on this side quest to actually just make a counterfeit version of the bag and hand that over to them. They obviously get pissed off at this, and you end up fighting like a bunch of them off, meet up with their leader, who's like, look, you fucked us over. We know where Bosch went. Go track him down, get the money for us, and bring it back. And so you track him down to England, where he gets kidnapped by jury, and you lose sight of him instantly, like right away. And yeah, so for like next quarter of the game, I want to say, quarter of the story, not a lot of actual main plot happens until you get into like a fighting tournament at the Hagar Stadium. And during the entire story up to this point, there's been like little hints of like dialogue through NPCs that like there's this big bomb threat going on out there. There's a big protest, and if they decide to do a main tournament, then all these protesters are just going to blow up the place. But because you're entering the Novice League, you're fine to do your tournament there for now. And you come out victorious in that, and kind of find out a little bit more about where Bosch is and go to this place called Nishal. And Nishal's important to the story of this game because this is the one that was... this is the place where the Street Fighter 6 manga took place. So this is where Ken got fucked up and got framed as a terrorist. This is where Luke was trying to deliver Ken's son to him, where JP is laundering money, and a lot of the story is revolved around like what the resistance group of this country is doing. And over time you like enter another tournament to go into the main tournament that's running in Nashal, and get like uncover some terrorist threats that's happening with that, and eventually end up meeting up with Bosch again, who at this point he's been infused with psycho power, which is a supernatural power in the Street Fighter universe that M. Bison and JP use. But he's not strong like those two guys are, so it's slowly destroying him from the inside, and he's trying to use the last moments of his life to get back at JP for using their country. Like his whole point so far is that, like, over time you discover that his entire point is that he wants to get strong because he wants to get back at JP for ruining their country and using it as a using the entire nation as a cover for his crime syndicate. And
can I just cut in with a question real quick?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. Number one, what the fuck? For a game called Street Fighter 6, you haven't mentioned one street that you've fought yet. And it seems like this is a weirdly convoluted story.
It is weirdly convoluted, and the main crux of what you do to level up in this game is just go and fight in the streets to get strong while you're tracking down your friend Bosch. Yeah, something I wanted to mention as well real quick is they mention that Bosch got infused with psycho power through Neo Shadowloo, which is a new branch of the Shadowloo organization that M. Bison ran. And they're only mentioned once, because at the end of Street Fighter V, they showed that Ed is the character that started this up. And Ed's not in the story of this game. He's a DLC character that is going to come up later. So they have one line of mention of like, yeah, so this is the place that did this to him, and we will not expand on that at all. But yeah, over time, like after going through more crime networks and underground fighting pits and things like that, you make your way to the main tournament that's going to be running in Nashal. And you find out that the resistance group that Bosch is with have put a bomb inside the championship belt that's going to be handed from JP is going to hand it to the winner of the tournament. So Bosch's entire plan at this point is win the tournament, set off the bomb, and blow him and JP up together. Like, just go out in a suicide bombing. But because you try to defuse the bomb earlier than the tournament starts and JP catches you, he catches on that, oh, there's something wrong with the belt. There's a bomb in this belt. So he does his own twist, and he ends up surviving the bomb detonation thing. Like, he he's nowhere near the explosion when it goes off, and it only ends up killing Bosch in the end. And this is where it gets like really flaccid of an ending. You fight JP, you win, and it just amounts to JP on his like laying on his back and giving a speech about, yeah, sure, you beat him, but you've accomplished nothing. Your friend's dead. The arena's in shambles. The country is still being used as a money laundering pit. You've literally achieved nothing by beating him. And then you go into the post game.
Christ. Fucking hell.
So, do you guys have any questions before I go into my positive and negative points?
Not really.
What fucking questions could I have to that?
Come on, man. That was it. What am I trying to say here?
Okay. No, I have. What was your favorite street to fight?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. A serious question.
Okay. Wow.
Did you enjoy, like, did the story have good writing, or did it just seem like the story was there to just facilitate fights?
I wouldn't say good writing, but acceptable writing is where I want to get it. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm at the edge of my seat, like waiting for the next bit of story to come along. It's just like, yeah, no, this is fine enough writing to engage me into going further into the story mode of this and just go through this 30-hour adventure. Is that good? Is that a good enough answer for that? Also, to answer Patrick's question, it's fighting a fridge in the back alley of a low ground, like basically a homeless area. That's my favorite thing to fight in my favorite street.
Not only was the fridge defenseless, but also homeless.
Oh no! The fridge attacks me.
Kicks.
The fridge started the fight.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You could have been a bigger person and just walked away. De-escalate, Saif. De-escalate. Learn it.
You know what? Maybe I could have actually escaped from that fight. I don't know. Yeah, no. Okay, so negative points first. So you might have noticed that a lot of what I said about the story just consisted about you and Bosch. I only made mention of like Luke and Jury once, maybe twice for Luke. Yeah, no, all the Street Fighter characters have a major backseat in this. They might as well just be background characters when they're not front and center in certain cutscenes. Like, Luke is your coach at the beginning of this. You kind of expect him to be a little bit more involved with the story, especially since the whole Nashal plot line ties directly into his storyline with the manga. They could have done a lot more with him. Same with Ken. Ken just kind of exists in this story, where he's in hiding basically, and you can get more of like his background of why he's in hiding, but there's no overall tying together the manga and the game's main plot point besides, yeah, so there's this developing nation called Nashal. JP is fucking things up there, and that's all you get out of that.
When you say JP, you mean Japan, right?
No, JP is the name of the character. I think the full name is Jovan Petrovic, but they call him JP because that's a fake name, and all his fake names are just variations of using J and P as the first and last name.
That's funny.
But yeah, yeah, a lot of the characters that even the characters that don't exist in the story itself just kind of hang out in their one area. Like Ryu, the main character of the franchise, is just hanging out Japan, not doing anything but training. Marissa, one of the new characters, just in Greece, not doing anything, just hanging out and training and fighting a lion. The characters that do have any semblance to the plot are like Luke, Jury, Cammy, Chun-Li a little bit, Ken a little bit, and JP. And it's just like, yeah, so here's their introductory cutscene, and now they're gone. They're out of it. They could have written them into the story a lot better, and while I enjoy what was given, there's still so much more they could have done. And the other negative point I had that is just kind of more of a gameplay thing, is that when you are building your character's move list, they kind of restricts how you can do your motion inputs. So it's saying it like that is a bit weird, so I'm going to have to give like a proper example. So you can have like a Hadouken set to your quarter circle forward and punch move.
Hadouken!
But that means you can't have a move that's quarter circle forward and kick. It's just like the quarter circle forward.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's really weird. So it's just like no.
That makes sense though. You've overridden the command like it.
No, but one of them's punch and the other one's
punch
kick.
And kick's a different button.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's instead of tying it to the button you're pressing, it's just like, yeah, no, you used this motion already, so you can't use this motion again, even though it's on a different button. That's weirdly restrictive, and I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe it's got something to do with, no, we don't want specific moves interacting with specific inputs, even though you can make some fucked up things, which is going to lead me to my positive points. You can make some fucked up movesets. Because of the slight degree of freedom they give you, you can have a base character's moveset, but then have completely different characters' special inputs. So what I've done for my character is I've got Dulcim's teleport towards an opponent, and then I've got Zangief's grab, so I just teleport next to someone and then just do the 360 inputs to do my massive grab on them and do a shit ton of damage. And there's other things that I've seen people do online cool, because you can take these characters online and do custom battles with people. So there's this one person I fought that has Jury's moveset, but they had Luke's special moves and Guile's level 1 super, so they just had this really long combo where they were carrying me across the map really well, splicing in all of Jury's and Luke's special moves, and then they'd cap it off with using Guile's super, which just was an anti-air thing, so they'd knock me up into the air and then use that super, and it looks really cool. It works really well, and making those sort of things is like a really cool thing to see. Bosch is generally really well done as a character. Like, his story is like, it's not amazing, but he's a well enough written character that I'd love to see him come back as a DLC character in the main game, even though in lore he's dead now. And fighting games generally don't like to do dead characters in their rosters sometimes. It's really weird how fighting games handle those things.
Mortal Kombat with like a web.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's like one of the few that does it. But like on the Japanese side of the fighting game industry, there's been a lot of like, no, this character's dead, so they're not going to come back in the roster again. And that's kind of a shame. But yeah, I hope that Capcom's just like, yeah, no, we made a really cool and neat character with this. We'll add him into the next season pass. And generally they did the World Tour really well as like a introductory course into the game. It slowly rolls out the system mechanics over to you throughout the story. Like, you don't get the parry and drive impacts for like the first. I don't think I got that until like halfway into the game, because the first like 15 hours is just really drilling into you. Yeah, get the basic fundamentals of just using your normal attacks, using your special moves, figuring things out, getting used to the game. And now we'll introduce you to the deeper system mechanics. And now we're going to drill those into you for the next 5 to 10 hours before we do another update to you. And yeah, it's just, overall, it's a really good way to teach people how to play Street Fighter.
Did you create a monster character?
I didn't, no.
Oh, interesting.
I made a normal
actually, no, I saw your
character.
No, it was a self-insert, mad, based, 100%
Yeah, it was a
based.
self-insert.
Very cool. Love that for you.
I can't believe that you fought a fridge
Let it go.
and lost.
I beat the fridges, and I beat the Roombas.
The Roombas even. Did you sweep
and
them
the
up?
drones that shoot missiles at you.
Don't forget to sweep the leg.
That's literally what the Roombas
What
do.
about the
They
police?
sweep your legs and knock you over. They just go really fast and sweep your legs.
It's understandable, to be honest. I'd do the same if I was a electronic. Yeah, stuff like that.
But yeah, overall, World Tour mode's like really, really fun. I'm glad that they've done a story mode like this. I think this is a good way to handle a fighting game story mode, in that this is like teaching people how to play the game as they're going along. And it's just kind of fun to interact with the world. There's more they could have done, and with the next Street Fighter game that comes out in 10 years, I hope they do expand on it some more and have the main characters of the game actually matter. But what's on offer here, I think, was fine and acceptable. Like, this on its own is like a 7 out of 10 mode in the game.
What would have made it an 8?
I think just kind of better writing for the story. Like, all of the only thing you can really do to improve on the formula that's here is to just use the characters better.
You mean like within the story?
Yeah, within
right?
the story.
Or you mean roster?
Yeah, the main roster characters, just use them better because they're just sidelined really weirdly in this. It feels like for so long they've been like the main characters of the world, and now you are the main character of the world for this story, and they've all just like taken a sideline. There's so many points that you should just be like, well, why isn't Luke involved? Why isn't Chun-Li involved? Why isn't Ken involved? Why can't I tell them about these things? And it's weirdly handled because a lot of them are just kind of standing there ready to talk to you at any point, and it's just like they just kind of exist there to give you your special moves, and that's it.
Yeah, actually, that would be pretty frustrating. Yeah.
So now you get to go roll some idiots online.
Now
He's
I
going
get to
to get
go.
rolled online.
Yeah, now I get to go roll some idiots online. I've actually already started doing that. I played one of the weekly challenges was to go into the battle hub and play on an arcade cabinet and win a couple of matches. So I rolled some guy 5 times and then he got 1 round and instantly left. I love it when people do that. Like they just keep sticking around until they get their 1 win and then they dip. They're like, I got mine, I'm done.
Yeah, well, you're not going to go out on a loss. That's silly.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Never go out on a loss. But yeah, I've got to track down what characters I want to learn and then start rolling people. Also, Capcom is in charge of making the worst battle pass I have ever seen. Jesus Christ, none of the things in the battle pass for Street Fighter 6 matter at all. I have never seen utter confusion as much as this one.
What do you mean that they don't matter? I don't understand.
So, if you buy the premium battle pass, which is like $7.50, and you max it out, all you're getting is like an arcade game you can launch from Street Fighter 6 at any point you want, a couple of customizable outfits like for your character. Like this season is summer season, so they just give you some bikinis and swim shorts and currency to buy the next battle pass.
Oh, well, are you going to buy the battle pass?
I will do what I did with multiverses, and if I get to the last tier before it expires, then I'll think about it.
Think about it. If
because,
it doesn't matter,
because
I will do what I must.
Because at that point, it'll be like, well, I'll spend $7.50 on this one. They'll give me the coins to buy the next one. And then I'm just stuck in a loop of, well, now I've done the next one, and now I need to... I bought the next one with the currency they gave me. Now I've got to stick around and play until I hit the end of that one. And then I spent $7.50 on 2 battle passes.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure I like that answer, but it's an answer nonetheless.
I don't like paying for content and then missing it. But if I hit the end of the battle pass,
good point.
And then I can convince myself to buy it, because then at that point I'm not actually missing anything.
I will now buy your game. Yeah, no, I get that. And that's what I did with the Halo Battle Pass as well. Like
Yeah.
I waited until I got everything. I hit level 100, whatever it was. And then I was like, yeah, cool, buy, purchase.
Yeah. I think that's a smart way to handle a battle pass, like as a player.
Especially with like a lot of other games that come out, like Tears of the Kingdom.
Final Fantasy 16 is just
stuff.
about to come out in 8 days.
Yeah, cool. Nobody cares about that, man. the 4 PlayStation 5 players in the world probably care about that.
So that's me, that's Patrick. Who else?
What?
The 4 PS5 owners in the world. There's you, there's me, and now we've got to find the other 2 people. And then we've got to challenge each other to Astrobot speedruns.
Hey.
Yeah. Very, very funny, I guess. All right. Yeah, so you said you'd give it a 7?
Yeah.
Or so
yeah,
you'd give story mode a 7. Do you want to review the whole game now?
I give the story mode a 7 and the overall package like a I'm debating between an 8 and a 9 just because of the sheer breadth of what they give you in a fighting game in this. I think I'll settle on an 8 though. Like there's just a lot of side modes and things they've done really smart that I could up it to a 9, but I think for me personally, like 8 is a very good score for this game, and I can go around and go, yeah, no, I really recommend people try this out, especially people that enjoy fighting games. Even if you don't really enjoy fighting games and just kind of want a decent story mode for this, then that's fine enough. And the modern controls, if you're not into fighting games, modern controls do a lot to alleviate those sort of motion inputs that people hate. So there's a lot of things that are in this that can make me go and recommend it easily to people to try out.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to hear.
Right. Yeah, I guess final chance for any final thoughts?
Didn't you have a Krispy Kreme story to tell, Saif?
I did. I guess I can insert that here now. So
yeah.
This is less a Krispy Kreme story and more a Krispy Kreme. This is less a Krispy Kreme story and more a Krispy Kreme warning. So the other day, Mum was bringing back
Krispy Kreme warning.
The other day, Mum was bringing back a assortment box, and this is my bad because she called up to make sure she got the donuts everyone wanted, and she's like, "What donuts do you want for the assortment box?" And I'm like, "Just get me anything. I don't really care because I like basically everything from Krispy Kreme." She got the one donut I do not like from Krispy Kreme.
Wait, Steve, what do you think is Saif's least favorite Krispy Kreme donut?
I honestly reckon it's something dumb like jam donut.
Oh, okay. Let's be more specific. Saif, is it a filled or unfilled donut?
It is a filled donut.
And it's actually a donut or like a pastry?
It is actually a donut.
Okay. So, Steve, is your final answer jam-filled donut?
Yeah.
When I look at Saif, and once I've finished throwing up violently,
and once you realize I am a heavy specimen,
I'm pretty sure it's Krispy Kreme. There's one. It's like a weird, like sickly sweet, like vanilla-y one. It's been a while since
like a vanilla slice kind of one.
Kinda. I don't know. Like because I know that I don't like it, I haven't had it from Krispy Kreme in ages, so I don't even look for it when I'm there. But it was like a sickly sweet vanilla-filled one, and I think it had like a line of like white frosting with like a line of like chocolate or something on the top. I don't quite remember. I'm pretty sure it's a Krispy Kreme donut. I could be completely off. Anyway, that's my guess. Sickly sweet vanilla-filled one. Price is Right rules. Who won?
So you're very close, Patrick. So I'm going to give this to you.
Hey, I know my heavy specimens.
My least favorite donut from Krispy Kreme is a Krispy Kreme with Oreo original donut.
You're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot,
is
Seth.
Too sickly sweet for me.
There's no such thing. I want to come over here and punch you in the head. That's dumb. That's the worst take in the entire world. You know what?
I cannot stand how sweet this donut is. I have to eat it in small chunks at a time. And yeah, so this is like the one donut. And every time we get these donuts, I'm like, yeah, no, these are way too sweet for me. I never actually finish them properly. I like cut them in half and then eat that half and then leave the other half for later in the day. And yeah, so my fault for saying get anything, but also at the same time, my mum knows I don't like these ones.
All right,
Steven is way off base because I love strawberry jam donuts. I loved the jelly-filled donuts.
I'm really upset that I won this one because Oreo-filled donuts from Krispy Kreme are one of the best ones.
I can't believe I'm the only one that has this take.
You know,
Maybe I'm the heavy specimen.
You know what? I hate this conversation. Let's go. This just made me sad.
Well, you're the one that brought it up, Steve.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good story.
Another fucking nail in the coffin for shit that you bring up that goes on for too long and you hate.
Common Stephen W.
And I'm losing us our Krispy Kreme sponsorship. I'm sorry.
What do you mean? You're losing us the Oreo sponsorship. Krispy Kreme, give us some of those original glazed bad boys.
Yeah.
Boxes of 24, yes, please.
I'll just stick to the original glazed.
Man, I remember one time I ate like a dozen donuts in like one sitting, and I thought I was going to be very sick.
What do you mean you thought? Were you or weren't you?
I wasn't, but I like, on the drive home, I was like, do I need to pull over? I didn't, though, because I had a girl in the car.
Wait, there's so much more to unpack. You, with a girl in the car, she just made eye contact with you while you consumed 12 donuts. Not even at your house, like somewhere outside of your house that you had to then... So this was in public that you then had to drive home.
Yes. So no, because it was like a Tinder date, and the first day it was like, you know what, let's just grab some coffee and donuts. I'm like, fuck yeah.
This story just gets so much worse the more you tell it. No, please keep talking.
She got out of the car and there was a gummy Mona Lisa on her ass.
Thank you. No, that wasn't it at all. Yeah, so I told my I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to because I was leaving the house. I was living with mum and dad at the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to Krispy Kreme with some friends. I'm like, I'm not going to tell them I'm actually going on a date. Like, oh cool, like bring us back a dozen. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to, but yeah, all right. So I bought a dozen, and then we got like a coffee, and she just got like
wait, sorry. It's important to the story. A dozen assorted, or just a dozen of one type?
A dozen glazed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. And so like we were there just having like talking shit. She ate her 2 donuts, and I just like would eat one and then another one, and if like it would have been like sitting there chatting for like 3.5 hours, and like I ate them all, and she's like, "Whoa!" Like I was gonna say something, but you ate all those donuts.
So wait. So she
noticed.
So you weren't able to sneakily consume a dozen donuts. You were doing it in full view on the table.
Yes.
And she said, at one point I thought about saying something. Watching a grown man eat a dozen glazed donuts from Krispy Kreme.
Patrick, maybe Steven is a heavy specimen.
No, that was back in the days when I was doing like factory work. So like I was on my legs all day, fucking hauling shit. I literally, I don't think I've ever been that full in my entire life. Like it's, and it was like, I think we got there at like 6 o'clock.
Let me tell you about the KFC double down.
Oh yeah, that's a different type of full day. But yeah, oh man, a coffee. I think it was like a large coffee as well. Because I was really tired. 12 donuts, man, that does things to your inside. I did not get a second date with that girl.
Your insides debate between shitting yourself or being constipated.
Or just being fucking vomiting everywhere. But yeah, I did not get a second date with that girl.
Did you ask
her? Was it because of your personality?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, yeah, look, I'm not going to revisit that.
I'm willing to compromise.
It's been like, what, 10 years, I think? I'm not jaded at all, but I remember...
There were 12 donuts, and he didn't offer to give me one or buy me any.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
she had 2 donuts. I was like, I had to get a dozen for my family. I just might eat 1 or 2. And she's like, yeah, cool. And then I just ate them all. So she probably thought I was like, oh yeah, I just need to get 12 for my family, and I just ate them all.
Family of 1.
But we went in 2 separate cars.
This guy just thinks of his own stomach, doesn't care about his family.
Well, no, like as we left, like we hugged goodbye or whatever it was, and then she was in the car and she drove away, and then I just went through drive-through to get like another dozen so I could give it to mum and dad.
And then when you get home, they were like, "Oh, thanks for the dozen, Steve. Do you want one?" And you're like,
"Yeah." I was like, "No, I could."
Yes.
Because I got home like quite late. Everyone was asleep, so I just put them in the fridge. But yeah, I did not feel good.
And then ate one.
No, I ate one the next morning. But yeah, that was my Krispy Kreme story. I didn't think we'd go down that memory lane. Hope she's doing all right.
Wow.
Maybe she's got a podcast and she's telling this story of some absolute freak eating 12 donuts.
It's an actual Krispy Kreme podcast.
Yeah. You guys need to do the 10 years on. See how fast you can.
I don't
see how fast you can now do a dozen.
I don't think I could eat a dozen. Like I'm not.
You don't want to do the Krispy Kreme dirty dozen challenge?
Yuck. Anyway,
Saif, Krispy Kreme dirty dozen challenge. You in?
Yeah, I guess it's like a hot dog eating competition, but with Krispy Kreme instead.
you can do like a mukbang thing, ASMR. We all become like that Nico Avocado guy.
One of the episodes is just all of us with a dozen Krispy Kreme. We're slowly eating them through the episode. The whole hook is to see if we can catch when someone's eating one of them.
It'd be really easy to spot Steven because he'd have a metal clank.
He's eating it with a spoon.
Very cool. Man, I got some ice cream in the freezer. I got to get that. Speaking of, shouldn't we go to break soon, fellas? I'm gonna get the metalless spoon and the metalless plate.
I'm gonna give Seth a box of like dozen original glazed Krispy Kreme, but one of them will be an Oreo, and I have to see if he can figure out which one it is.
Oh, jeez, I wonder which one it is. Is it the ones with holes or one completely covered in Oreo?
I don't know.
Hate you, Seth. Hate you.
Wouldn't the actual game be to guess which one's the Oreo one? Take the topping off it and just mix it in with strawberry jam filled donuts.
You know what? I think I have an idea for what I need to send to Seth.
It's a Steven Saucefield donut.
It's the only hole that'll fit.
Steve's delivery instructions for this was to tell you that he filled this one with his love. That was all the context he gave.
Yeah.
You know what? That's all the context I need to know to not touch it.
Hey, unless you bite into it, it could be strawberry jam.
Look, Steven's sending me something with love. I know to avoid it.
And with that, we come to the end of Round the Lounge for this week. Thank you to you both. As always, we get to move on to part 2 for this week, which is, of course, the news off the back of a bunch of, basically, what would you call it, Steve? Gamer Christmas.
Gamer Christmas.
It's the summer of gaming, baby.
It's
winter in Australia.
Your stocking. Well, actually, Steve, have you been naughty or nice this year?
I'd like to say I've been nice. Actually, it depends who's asking.
He's been asking
Mr. Kreme himself. Yep.
For you as a nice young man, you get a refund on your Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 pre-order. Congratulations.
I didn't pre-order that. Do I still get the money?
You get a refund on your Vampire the Masquerade's Bloodlines 2 pre-order.
Yep, that's exactly what he said. That's exactly what Pat just said. Yeah. So
you're gonna like it.
Okay, let's backtrack. Have you guys played Vampire the Masquerade 1?
I haven't. I just know there's like a cult following behind it, and I mean like a cults, not like the fake gamer cults.
Okay, I'm not going to unpack that. But yeah, it came out in 2004, and like people that like that game, they love that game. I'm not even really sure if
I don't even know if it's a good game.
Yeah, I don't even know what genre it is. I think it's like a weird RPG type of thing. But anyway,
I hear there's like a million mods you need to download to make it playable these days.
But that doesn't make it fun.
That's what they say about Redfall.
No, that got a patch to make it playable.
There is no patch to that game.
Think about a patch.
They actually just recently released a patch that is a very minor bug fix patch.
Think of a patch like a first-party mod.
Yeah.
God, side point. I fucking hate it when it's, oh, hey, we patched, it's a bunch of minor bug fix. Is it playable yet? No, that's still coming, but we fixed a couple text typos. Go to hell. Yeah, I don't know anyone that ordered Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, but to anyone that did, congratulations. You now have a little bit more money to spend on anything else.
I just think it's funny that it's just like, this game's been so long in development that we have to return we have to refund the physical pre-orders because the things we promised with that game no longer represent what's going to be in the game.
Interesting.
Well,
That is
anything to add from this?
actually, no, yeah, that's actually fucking scary. Like literally, like to be refunded a pre-order. Number one is actually good because they're actually able to distinguish that it doesn't exist or doesn't exist in a good state. But it also is like you're stopping having people on the hook. So maybe they will generate a bit more confidence. But that's all I have to say about that.
Next up, you can take that pre-order money and put it and 59 of your closest friends, because I assume you got the super deluxe mega edition that comes with a full like Adam statue type marble thing of the original The Masquerading Vampire. Put that money into Stampede Racing Royale, which I'm gonna be honest, looks kind of like Mod Nation Races from Wish, but also
yes, I got that vibe as well.
But with a multiplayer mod for 60 people.
I'm so glad you said that because I got the Mod Nation Races vibes from it as well. And yeah, this is so preamble. This is being made by Sumo Digital, well, a branch of Sumo Digital. And just recently, I talked about one of their games, which was Hot Shots Racing. And yeah, they do really good kart racing games. So I've got a good feeling about this at least playing well. Whether 60 players is too much is going to be up for debate when this comes out. But also, it seems like this might be a free-to-play live service game.
Are you going to get it?
I will definitely try it out. It does look fairly interesting. I like the way their games control. So if they, I'm curious to see how well a racing game will handle 60 players, because I think at most is just 12 that we've ever had before in kart racing games.
Does it have rollback netcode?
Maybe Mario Kart has rollback netcode.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. I will pay attention to it, but not swayed. Nothing that I've seen has put me off it or made me really interested. So far so good.
Yeah, it's just the potential live service elements that are just like, yeah, okay, maybe I won't get invested in this game, but I'll at least try it out.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of things that you want to try out, have you already signed up for the Tekken 8 closed network test?
No.
Patrick, come on. The way I talked about Tekken before, you think I haven't?
Okay, let me rephrase the question. How many email accounts have you made specifically with the intention of signing up to the Tekken 8 closed network test?
At least 5.
Well, I mean, if we just dock Steve's email right now, you can make it 6.
Please don't.
That's at least 5 new ones, by the way, not existing ones.
Anything that you want to mention about this? This is very much your area.
Yeah, no, hey, Tekken's going to be doing a closed beta test it's going to start on PlayStation 5 and run from July 21 to 24. And then July 28 to 31, it's going to be PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. If you're interested, sign up and hope that you get an email from Namco going, hey, you're accepted. But yeah, no, I think every character that's been revealed so far is going to be playable, so it'll be interesting to see what this is. Hopefully they let content creators also make videos or stream it, so that's like, for people that don't get into the beta, they can at least watch people playing the game and get an idea of how the game's going to go. But yeah,
probably like every other fighting game.
Yeah, basically, I think Street Fighter let you. Basically every other fighting game let you. It's just like random mobile games I think of that are like, yeah, no, we're being very secretive. Please don't show anything about this closed network test to anyone. I'm also interested to see how the Tekken 8 the Tekken 8's netcode is going to be, because I believe that the studio that does Fighting EX Layer are handling the netcode for this. So fingers crossed that Tekken's netcode is going to be good for once.
Right. Any thoughts from you, Steve? Otherwise, we'll move
on. No thoughts at all. Not just not on this game.
Classic Steve, no thoughts.
I'll say what I really feel.
He's mentally preparing himself for another 12 Krispy Kreme donuts.
Man, could you imagine if you edited that entire discussion out and put it only for our best and favorite Patreon supporters, and then we just make an out-of-reference context like that, and then have to segue them to plugging our Patreon? Otherwise, no one's going to understand why Steve went and ate 12 Krispy Kreme donuts.
You know,
this whole sequence also involves me having to go and make a Patreon for us to plug.
Details.
Yeah, I reckon I've been with my girlfriend for 6 years now, and I reckon if I ate 12 Krispy Kreme donuts in a row, she'd do exactly the same thing and ghost me.
She'd hug you, say goodbye, and leave.
No. She'd be right to do it as well. Something, but then didn't.
We get back home and she just never speaks to me again.
She leaves the bunnies behind because she knows how much you love them.
Speaking of washing things up. Speaking of getting taken to the cleaners, actually, wait a minute.
What?
Whoops! I skipped it. I skipped it.
Every time we let Steven in charge, he skips one.
I cannot read. I keep telling you, I cannot read.
It throws me so hard when you do that.
Stop panic segueing.
Looking for context that's just not there. Seeing as Steve has now been sent to the Shadow Realm, while he's there, he can look at the Shadows of the Damned remastered. Oh, you like?
Not your best transition.
You like that one?
I'll be damned if I can pick it. I'll be damned if I can find another one.
Hey, there we go. All you need to do is remaster the segue and might let you back in. So this announcement trailer is odd. I know that it's a remaster and I haven't played the original, so maybe this is just an in-joke that I'm missing, but what the hell is this announced trailer?
No, you're not missing anything. This is just an out of context thing and has nothing. Yeah, basically, it has absolutely nothing to do with the game as it is. It's just the main character walking into the studio and threatening everyone. No, I'm just kind of glad this is happening because along with Lollipop Chainsaw, this is another one of Suda51's games that have been trapped on 7th gen. So I think EA originally had the publishing rights to this, and the game just flat out failed. Like it's another one of those, the people that love this game really love it, and it never caught on with a bigger appeal. So yeah, just having a second life and being on modern hardware is a nice thing to have.
Cool. Unless there's any other thoughts that you have on this, we can move on. Or I guess, are you interested in this at all?
Very just minor of, it's interesting that this is a remastered version while Lollipop Chainsaw is getting a full remake. Like, that's interesting to see, but I also guess, like, Shadows of the Damned isn't as loved as Lollipop Chainsaw, so not going to as much effort with that makes sense. And yeah, I'm interested. I never played the original, but I've been like keen on trying it out. And this is just
I could not tell you what genre this game is. I have seen the cover art of the first one 1,000 times. I could not tell you what genre it is.
It's a first-person shooter.
Oh.
I think it's literally the guy's girlfriend gets taken to hell and he goes to hell to try and save her.
Hell is old as time.
Isn't that the plot of Minecraft?
It's also the plot of Dante's Inferno. Except I think in Dante's Inferno he literally gets cucked by the devil.
Man, haven't we always? The book's better, by the way. As someone who read the book after playing the game, like a true gamer. A true 17-year-old. The book is not the same. There's no titties in that book. A lot of purgatory, babies. No titties. Okay, the silence is too long.
Yeah, I really do. I'm trying to think of...
Yeah, I didn't know how to follow up.
I'm using all of my segue juice to try and find any way that I can turn that into talking about SpongeBob SquarePants Power Wash Simulator DLC, but you know what? I have no idea. Anyway.
So why don't you just ham-fisted like that one?
That is the fallback, yeah. Seth, you're interested in this. Actually, I'm also interested in this, but I do not have Power Wash Simulator, nor Actually, no, you know what? I already spoke about this last week. I have VR. I could play this. I just need to set it up, but then it would make me want to play Beat Saber, and then I'd accidentally put another hole in the wall, and then I would have to change my name to Kyle. And I don't want that overhead, I'll be honest.
Why Kyle specifically?
Okay. Let me paint you a picture. Let me paint you a picture, Seth. You've just found out that someone has punched a hole in their wall. What do you think that person's name is? Don't say Patrick.
Well, I was going to say Patrick, but since you asked me nicely, Cartman.
Fair enough.
His name's Eric.
Second place would have been Cartman's friend Kyle. So that's why it would have been. It's also the name with Monster
It's
Energy
Randy.
drinks.
It's Randy for sure.
Actually, yeah, Randy makes a lot of sense. But no, still looks interesting. I assume I will happily be like every other 10-year-old kid getting home from school and watch a content creator play this because it just looks entertaining. But you're looking to actually play this yourself, Seth?
Yeah, at some point I do want to get Power Wash Simulator myself, and I'll definitely get this along with it because this is too funny not to get. Context, it's coming out June 29th for $8 US, so I'm not 100% sure what that localizes to, but it's cheap enough that I think it's fine. It'll be like around $10, $11.
Sure, might be a bit higher than that with the shipping cost, but fair enough.
Or just the Australia and New Zealand tax.
That too. And I guess it's good practice for when you have to power wash the Steven sauce out of out of your hair. That makes it a bit too real. Moving swiftly
the Krabby
along.
Patty.
Extra crab. Moving on. We have news that Overwatch 2 is U-turning. They saw the community outcry that they really wanted story missions, and they were like, "Don't worry, we got you." How does $15 redos sound? What
That sounds bad.
What the fuck? Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Not like this.
It was just last week we were talking about them saying, so we cancelled the single player content, or rather the PvE content, and we actually had no plans. We canned it before launching Overwatch 2. And now they're coming out and going, we're just going to package some of the PvE stuff that we are planning, and we're going to package it together for $15.
That's so fucking strange.
The way they phrase it is that for $15 you get permanent access to this. So it just, to me at least, it sounds like stuff that they're going to have in rotation for the game.
Well, no,
and the $15 is
will.
just to ensure that, and so the $15 is just to ensure that you always have access to it even when it gets rotated out.
Yeah.
And that's like really stupid and scummy, I think.
What's this?
Look, it is a free. I was going to say it's a free.
Stupid and scummy.
Yeah, I was going to say it is a free to play game, but like specifically. So, I still don't know. Like, are they like you'll have access to the PvE content for free for about a month, and then it rotates out to a different one? Are you paying the $15 to get access to it all the time, or are you paying the money to get access to it when it launches?
I think it's the $15 to just have access to it all the time.
Yeah, that's my read of this as well.
Yeah. Okay then. Interesting. I literally, I don't know what they're thinking.
And from what I've heard, like, I don't know this for sure, but I think this is like really cut down versions of what the original plan was as well. Like, this is nowhere near the scope of what they were advertising the single player, in quotation marks, content for the game was going to be.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. This will just be like a cutscene, and then be like, it'll just be like a normal map with just like bot controlled characters.
Yeah, these are, I think I saw something about an interview with these being one shots that basically just expand a little bit of lore. The initial premise was this with these big kind of like character trees and power-ups and all that other stuff. It sounds like that side of it was canned because they couldn't get that to a point of being a kind of stable thing that they could put out. So I expect that these are just fun little, as I say, one shots that don't really have any bearing on each other.
Yeah, the compromise was just to make a couple of horde maps, basically, and do like a cutscene or two for each of them.
Are you not entertained? They yelled.
I'm not, especially when like the upper end of these invasion bundles is $40, and those are including things like battle pass skips.
What's the point of having a fucking battle pass if you're just going to pay to skip it? Like
you can pay for access to the battle pass, and you can pay again to skip the tiers because you know you're not going to finish it on time.
There's literally the point.
I do not understand the people that
they literally make the battle passes like grindy enough that it's basically having a second full-time job, so that way you have to buy the skips to have a chance of finishing it within the time limit.
Remember when people calced that you could earn enough in-game currency to purchase a hero unlock in Battlefront 2 after, was it 16 hours of gameplay?
Yeah, some bullshit like that, yeah. Man, that game launched in such a shit state.
Like, I think it was one of the Call of Duty games was like, yeah, so if you want to get everything, if you want to max out the battle pass and like you're winning consistently, you're still going to have to play this game like 6 hours a day every day to get to the end of the battle pass in time.
That's fucking horrifying. Ugh. Do not play games with garbage like that.
Yeah? Yeah, Steve?
Yeah.
What about
Except
playing
Street Fighter
games?
6. Play Street Fighter 6.
Don't play Street Fighter 6.
What about playing games with garbage FPS caps on consoles like Starfield?
Fuck you, yeah. Yeah, or like Redfall.
Before he says it, the eye can definitely see more than 24 frames a second per eye.
Bullshit.
Wow, I bet you wear glasses.
If it's
to
good
double
enough
it, don't
animation, you're an animator, Saif. Doesn't animation have like 24 frames a second?
We can go lower.
With motion blur on, 12 frames.
I'm sorry, didn't you want Starfield to be your favorite stop motion RPG?
Well, wasn't it the in like 2010 or something, the guy that makes Gran Turismo said if it's less than like 30 frames a second, there's a slideshow? I think about that all the time, honestly. I mean, he said that in 2010.
I think it was Jim Ryan saying, oh man, I looked at the old Gran Turismo games and I couldn't believe that people want to play this.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, he really said that. He was at a Gran Turismo event where they were celebrating the history of the series. He saw the old like PS1 games and he's like, I can't believe people played this.
This man's never played a video game in his life.
Old game's bad.
Yes, old game bad, new game. Anyway, so speaking of new game good, so they
fuck, here we go. He's gonna praise it.
So Xbox recently did.
Steve, give it your Steve sauce.
Xbox recently did the Xbox showcase, and then they did straight after that a Starfield showcase where they showed 45 minutes of Starfield gameplay and interviews with developers.
Can I be brutally honest with you for a second?
Can you let me finish the fucking story?
No, because this has to do with what you just said, what you literally just said, and if you continue the story, I'm not going to get a chance to say it. Anyway. So the moment the Microsoft showcase ended and I saw there was still an hour left and it was all Starfield, I just closed the video.
I did the same thing.
I'm glad that we both are on the same emotional wavelength.
Yeah, I will simply play the game when it comes out. And it's
if it was 20 minutes, sure, I would have sat through it. An hour, there's nothing substantial that you could have shown off for an hour that is justifying that much time.
Well, anyway, it's like all it would have done is just excited me for it. So I'm not going to watch it anyway. So they, Todd Howard himself, the man, the myth, the legend, confirmed that it will run at 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X and S. Funnily enough, it's running at 4K on the Series X and 1440p on the S. And his justification for it is if they lock it at 30, it's going to stay at 30. It won't go up, it won't go down. Whereas if they do bump it up to 60, you will get those problems. It'll go all over the shop. You will get those drops. And going from, if you're playing the game at 30 all the time, it's fine. If it bumps up to 60, if you're starting it at 60 and it bumps down to 30, or it gets a bit jaggy, or there are problems, or it skips, you'll probably notice that a lot more. I can
The
sort of get his
reason
point of
I'm
view.
reading is that they wanted to keep the fidelity up. They didn't want to have these options of lowering down the fidelity of the game to allow higher frame rates. They just wanted it to look as pretty as possible, so they locked it at 30. And I'm going to be honest, I don't believe them that it'll stay locked at 30. I think it will drop.
100%. There's no way it doesn't. It's a Bethesda game. But it's very interesting him
We'll be
talk
lucky
like
if
that.
it's above 24 on a good
Well, we can't.
shot.
Well, we won't be able to tell the difference. But it'd still be very interesting. And that was probably a very hard decision for them to make, especially like in the dying days before Redfall was released. It was like, oh yeah, it doesn't run at 60 anymore, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
This is joining the. This is
It's coming in a patch.
This is a generation where people are getting the choice of high resolution or high frame rates, and the only games so far that have that have taken away that option and gone, no, we're just doing resolution and 30 FPS cap is Gotham Knights, Redfall, and now Starfield. That is not a good group of games to be stuck with.
Yeah, well, exceptions are rules, but I can sort of. They were upfront about it. Like the game doesn't release until September. It does. The bigger question, and that nobody is really saying here, is because there's the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. There have been rumors circulating that the S is pulling down the X, like because if you're making stuff for the X, it obviously has to run on the S. The S is just above an Xbox One X in terms of power. Like it's not.
I think developers have straight up been saying, yeah, it has. And Digital Foundry recently did a Street Fighter 6 comparison, which is on PS4 but not Xbox One. And the PS4 version has better textures than the Xbox Series S version does.
Interesting. Does run at 60, but
yeah, it runs at 60. A fighting game running at 60 is a crime.
But it's just sort of interesting that Xbox has done this to stream, like for the budget sort of lower tech for the Xbox Series S and the
hold on.
Gaming's most powerful console.
Yeah, wasn't Microsoft also the ones that were saying this is the most powerful console and it'll run everything at 60 FPS?
I don't think they said the second part, but they definitely did call it the world's most powerful console.
Yeah, I know they called it the world's most powerful console for sure, but I think there was also a point there where they're like, yeah, no, this is just going to run everything at 60 FPS. This will be the 60 FPS generation.
Yeah, and it just seems like that the S is dragging them down. They've shot themselves in the foot. Like it's interesting.
Wow, shocker.
Yeah, like unfortunately common Xbox miss. Like what they had the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, like as their Xbox Pro versions, for lack of a better word, and those didn't really catch on. Like the Xbox Series S, sorry, the Xbox One S apparently sold like dog shit because no one really knew what it was. It was
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, it just sort of comes to a very common Xbox muddying up the waters.
Another funny thing on that is Metal Hellsinger recently put out a trailer where they're like, here's an update with DLC for the game. It's coming out to PS5, Xbox One X, and PC.
Yeah. Also in Starfield news as well. Starfield owned by Bethesda, is made by Bethesda, owned by Xbox. So it's coming day one to Game Pass, but they have released a Game Pass upgrade. So if you have the game on Game Pass, you can get this upgrade, a premium edition upgrade, which gives you a steelbook, which would not contain the game, a Constellation patch, and a bunch of like DLC, and 5 days early access to the game. Which means if you lose your Game Pass subscription, you lose access to this game. Yes, you paid $60 for it. That is fucking mind-blowing that they're doing this.
Wait, it's $60 for all of that, and it's just like, it's all these stuff plus your Game Pass license is the only form of accessing the game.
Yes.
That's weird.
Yeah, so if you lose Game Pass, like if you stop paying for Game Pass, you lose access to this game.
You have
Like,
all the physical
that's
collector's
$60.
stuff, but you don't have the game.
Well, you got the steel book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have all the
patch,
physical
but
collector's stuff.
Yeah, you lose the soundtrack and the art book because they're linked to your Xbox Game Pass account. That is the most fucking. I honestly think anybody that decides to get this needs to get their fucking head examined. Jesus fucking Christ! It is the weirdest thing.
They definitely need to get their head examined when there is such a good deal of the Constellation Edition, which also includes a steelbook display case without the game, a Constellation patch, a bunch of digital stuff, but it also gives you a watch and a watch case and the actual digital game for the low price of, wait for it, 580 New Zealand dollars.
Yeah,
if you buy that, you need to get your head checked.
Comes with a watch bar.
I mean, so if I buy that, I must have come into money because I don't even think I have that in like a combination of any bank accounts I own.
I mean, you could put down you could put down a deposit and pay it off over time.
I love the idea of going to a pawn shop and just trying to pawn off the watch to pay for the steelbook case. But yeah, $500 for the Constellation Edition.
The one thing I want to add to the Starfield discussion as well is that they put out the PC system requirements, and even at minimum, they're saying, yeah, no, you need an SSD to run this game.
And a 1070 Ti, which means that my sweet 1080 Ti is finally coming to its end of life, I think.
It's been fucking 10 years,
it's
man.
It's still a little above that recommendation, but it's getting there. They've almost caught up to you.
I just did some quick math. If you pay, because the Constellation Edition is $500 US, if you pay for the Constellation on Xbox, where it is locked to 30 FPS, you are paying $16.66 per frame per second.
I'm so glad you did that. I'm so glad that the answer was per frame you're paying this much.
That's strange way of measuring. Yeah, but yeah, well,
Forget the length of game to price ratio. It's how many frames a second are you getting per dollar?
Oh man, this has to be my new favorite metric. I can't believe Starfield is $16 per frame per second.
Hold on, I need to go check how much Hades is.
But yeah, Starfield comes out September 6th. I'm very excited for it. I'm going to take the day off. Work.
Cool. I will not. Actually, well, at this point, I don't think. Well, it's the sort of thing that is kind of interesting. I'm a big fan of the sort of Mass Effect-y, sci-fi type thing, and maybe Starfield scratches that itch, but I also thought No Man's Sky would scratch that itch, and I saw how that released.
Nah, this will scratch the Fallout itch, the Fallout Skyrim itch.
Yeah, so I think it might be a slightly different.
If you ever played that Outer Worlds game that came out from Obsidian in 2010, I reckon it's going to be a better version of that. 2020, sorry. 2020.
It's weird you say that cool. Obsidian made the better version of Fallout 3.
Yeah. Fallout New Vegas, best version. And that's made by Obsidian. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's weird to go, oh yeah, so Obsidian made the Outer Worlds, but Bethesda, they're going to make the better version of the space game.
I played that Outer Worlds when it was on Game Pass, ironically. It was more linear than what it should have been. It had a lot of yeah, it had a lot of good ideas, but it was it becomes that sort of the diamond thing where it's you press yes, you go to a different path, and then you're back to the main. Nothing really changes that much.
For me personally, I'm not too into Bethesda games, much like I'm not too into Blizzard games. So I'll just sit this one out.
Don't worry.
Oh, it's okay. Blizzard games aren't into you either.
Maybe I'll get it on sale on PC later down the line and then give it a shot. Yeah. But looking at my 10 hours in Skyrim, I don't know.
Actually, probably 50 something hours in Oblivion. But yeah, no, I also only have about 10 hours in Skyrim. Which is funny because I think I own 2 different versions of it.
I never fell for that meme.
Just
I
been
only bought it
collecting them
once.
over the years. No. I think one of them was a bundle. Where one of them just came with a Skyrim. I'm pretty sure. I've definitely only purchased it myself once, but I think I own it in 2 places. I forget the details.
I have purchased it twice. I purchased it once on the Xbox 360 and once for the Xbox One.
Wow, you are the problem. Get your head
Oh
examined.
no, I paid like I don't have to justify myself. Fuck you. It's literally like 10 years later I bought it.
Sit in the corner and eat some Krispy Kreme. Next up, speaking of Activision Blizzard, you might not be a fan of the games, but are you a fan of the optimism of Phil Spencer saying that the acquisition by Microsoft will go through, Seth?
You know what? I'm happy that he thinks that.
And let him have his fun.
He's had a rough time lately. Let him have this one. Let him have this small moment of positivity in his life.
Before it too gets ripped away.
So speaking of this getting ripped away from Phil Spencer.
Yeah, it's not looking very good, is it? Well, so I think it's. Of course, he's going to say that. He's not going to say, "Oh, I don't think we're going to make it." Like his literal job is to make sure that it goes through.
Yeah, no, of course. And honestly, I don't think he'd bring it up if people didn't keep asking about it. But it's like one of the biggest things going on in the games sphere at the moment.
I reckon it'll be like the outcome of this will. I reckon Sony's probably holding up on purchasing some other stuff. Microsoft's probably holding up on doing some other acquisitions, probably generally, because don't forget, this is $69 billion that is fucking tied up. They're going to have to pay that late fee to Blizzard because they won't be able to close the deal in time. And if they can't, they eventually will get it over the line. But that $69 billion doesn't include...
There's a chance that Activision takes that $2 billion and walks.
Oh, can they walk away? I thought it was
once
that
$2 billion hits, Activision is free to walk away from the deal.
Oh, holy shit. Surely they don't walk away. Surely. But yeah, and that $69 billion doesn't include the money lost waiting for this deal to go through, the amount of money that is being spent to lawyers.
There's a chance that Activision could renegotiate to make it higher than $69 billion.
There's no way they'd be able to negotiate it higher. The amount of concessions Microsoft has had to do, like if they try to concede, Microsoft would be like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, but look at Bobby Kotick and you tell me that's not a man that's going to try and get it higher.
Wait, fucking dumb to get it higher. He's losing his golden parachute. He's probably just having to step back and be like, you know what, Microsoft will sort it out.
I think him taking the $2 billion and walking is the smartest golden parachute he has.
God, that's funny. Anyway, investigations continue.
Yeah, and
I reckon it'll be like the end of the year it closes. Like not now, but like end of the year.
Yeah, and like to just to add, like I said, ripping this positivity away from Phil Spencer, the FTC's just put a restraining order on Microsoft closing the deal for Activision Blizzard. And so
yeah,
they could have closed. They would have had to make a lot of concessions and pulled out of the UK if they wanted to close the deal now. But the FTC's
gone. That UK thing.
Yeah, but the FTC's gone to court with and said, no, we want a restraining order put on them until our court cases are done. So they're not able to close anymore.
Right, yeah. One of those will have to wait. Speaking of closing things, Embracer Group going through a bunch of restructuring, closing studios. Boom, nailed the segue. Canceling some games. Embracer Group. I mean, I know everything about them, but for someone out there like Steve who has no idea, Seth, do you want to explain what Embracer Group owns?
Yeah, so they own a shit ton. I was just about to look for like the image of things that they own, like the massive chart. But just to put into some context, they own Gearbox, which means they own Borderlands. They own THQ Nordic. They own the stuff that Square Enix just sold to them recently, like Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, and get like a shit ton of other stuff. Like they're one of the bigger groups that owns a large chunk of the gaming sphere.
Cool. I don't know if there's anything specific about this that we want to point out.
There's a chance that they
sort of-
close down Volition, who makes the Saints Row games.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, there's sort of a chance of all of that underneath them, right? Like, this is kind of the double-edged sword of everything being owned by one or two, by centralizing all the ownership.
I absolutely love conglomerations like this. And I absolutely butchered that word.
There's a lengthy open letter from the Embracer Group CEO, who, I don't know why, but seeing that his name is Lars just kind of makes sense to me.
They own the studio that did Road 96.
Close it down. I'm kidding.
And the Hot Wheels Unleashed games.
Mid.
So, the 18 publishers under them is THQ Nordic, Handy Games, I think that is. This picture is very small. Deep Silver, Milestone, Raven's Court, Vertigo Games, Prime Matter, Koch Films, Coffee Stain,
Coffee
Saber
Stain.
Interactive, Aspire.
I didn't realize Coffee Stain was Embracer.
Yeah, Coffee Stain, 3D Realms, Deca, Crazy Labs, A Thinking 8, Gearbox, Easy Brain, and Perfect World. And also, recently, the Crystal Dynamics and Eidos.
There's one block. So basically, he's penned an open letter to everyone at the company, and therefore it's open. Everyone else that wants to read it. Just want to highlight one piece.
The One Piece.
No, not that one. Shut up. Embracer currently engages close to 17,000, and while that number will be lower by the end of the year, it is too early to give an exact forecast on this. It is painful to see talented team members leave. Our people are what make up the very fabric of Embracer. I understand and respect that many of you will be worried about your own position, and I don't have all the answers to all questions. I want to be clear that the decisions about this program were not taken lightly.
They're not leaving it by choice, by the way. You're kind of ejecting them.
Yeah, there's, I don't know.
That is very
that
CEO speak.
Yeah, I viscerally hate that sort of management speak of like, yeah, we have to cut people. Everyone's fantastic. They're really great. Some are more fantastic than others. But I want you to know, even though we've chosen to fire a bunch of you, we had to think about it.
Yeah, like, I don't want to like dull the sword at any point, but they are making some good decisions here in that they want to reduce the cost of and the investment in doing projects that involve outside studios and try to keep everything more internal. And with the amount of companies that they own and developers they own, just keeping things internal is a very good idea. But yeah, that doesn't make up for they dropping a good amount of people from their studios. It's really shitty to do.
I will never understand who a statement like is supposed to help make feel better, because the person that just got fired, if they know that the decision wasn't taken lightly, does that make it better? My answer would be no.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Oh, at least you had to think about it. You know, I'm fine being let go and not having a future with this company anymore.
A lot of people that were recently let go from Microsoft were very vocally upset on their social media platforms.
And Google and Twitter and like all tech layoffs, but all tech layoffs do the same thing of, we really love our people. We really do. We have to fire some of you, but we had to think about it.
You know what we love more? Money.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's kind of hard, yeah. And maybe this is probably just more of a business complaint. Like, companies are like posting record profits, and it's like, you know what? Have to trim the fat. It's like, there is no fat to trim. You're making money. Like,
it always reminds me of like Blizzard, like 4 or 5 years ago, basically coming out going, yeah, we made like double the amount of money this year than we've ever made before. Oh, by the way, we're firing 800 employees.
Or Microsoft going, hey, we can't really keep that many of you, but we will drop $70 billion to buy Activision Blizzard.
Hey, they haven't bought them yet.
Okay.
That's why they had to...
But they have fired the people.
I still run with the conspiracy theory that those 10,000 people were laid off to make room for Activision Blizzard employees, and the deal not coming through has severely fucked them.
Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. You get a lot
It's
of
actually
redundancies.
such a good conspiracy. One of my mates in Auckland, a new CEO has taken over at the company he works for, and there was a joke in terms of the CEO coming in and wanting to make their mark, because just the current climate is just that being in tech is just sort of hard at the moment. The downturn, inflation going up, cost of money, cost of borrowing, and all the other stuff, all that sort of stuff. And so the idea of like a new CEO coming in, public company, so liable to shareholders. If you're the CEO and you get rid of the office and then fire everybody, your shareholders is going to be astounded at how much money you can save.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't own a building with your logo on it. So the shareholders are going to be really upset about that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they embrace this change.
Hey, there we go. And Games Fest, embrace it. No, I can't do it. Now we get to move into the fun part where we
the Game of Christmas part.
For legal reasons, I'm not allowed to call this a list, but
I
is a
have
collection.
coined the term a pile.
Yeah, that's Seth's pile.
It's a grab bag.
We're about to walk into Seth's piles.
You know what?
There is
Actually,
a crane
no.
for that. I hope it gets better.
It's not my pile. It's Geoff Keighley's pile.
And I want to say he was looking fresh. Like I'm looking at my notes, and the first thing I wrote down is "Wow, Geoff
Fresh.
looking fresh." Yeah, he was looking good, and you can tell see. There's something that the way that he presents compared to every other showcase that I've watched this week, and all like the state of plays and like the Nintendo Directs.
He's presenting it like it's still E3.
But he genuinely you can tell he's excited.
Oh yeah, that too. He loves what he's doing. He loves the industry, and he's not he's not a suit behind the like a CEO making decisions. He's like he used to be a game journalist, and he's just gotten higher and higher positions because he's gotten more and more involved with the industry, and he just kind of loves showing off new games.
Yeah, and the lady, I can't remember her name, that was semi-hosting the Xbox Game Showcase. You can tell she's well rehearsed, but it does sort of look more like acting. Like she probably does care about games and what she's talking about, but you can tell that was more rehearsed and it's recorded and it's like a show. Whereas Geoff is just fucking happy to be there. And the way that he.
Meanwhile, literally every Nintendo Direct.
Most serious man in the entire world. Looking right at the camera. Yeah, we're very pleased to present this game. I'm like, are you, man? And I sort of understand that's a whole Japanese culture.
What an exciting trailer.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed. We hope you enjoyed seeing what we have to offer at this point in time.
Thank you, Bells. But whereas
now I will throw it to my best friend, Seth Rogen. Hello, Seth.
Or Chris Pratt. Goombas. But yeah, Geoff genuinely seems happy to be there. He seems excited, and the way that he presents and he pronounces words and what the games are going to be about, it flows. It's really well. So the one thing I did hate about this showcase was the Nick Cage part. I nearly walked out of the room. That was cringe. I hated him so much.
that part. Nick Cage is doing puns on purpose. He's yucking it up. He's just enjoying life and being Nick Cage. He's embraced the persona of Nick Cage.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that. So what else did you guys?
I want to be fused with Nick Cage in Dead by Daylight.
Are you going to buy Dead by Daylight?
Oh, absolutely not. That developer fucking sucks, and they support NFTs.
What about you, Pat?
Can't have that.
I watched the showcase. I know you watched the showcase, Seth. Did you watch the showcase, Pat, or did you just pick a couple of trailers to look at?
I looked up the Spark Notes for the English exam that I have, the English essay that I have to write on it.
Very cool.
And I think I feel fairly prepped. I did not watch the showcase, but I have been absorbing the little bits of trailers. So, admittedly, I there are so many games that I know I will enjoy that are coming out soon. I haven't looked at every trailer. I've just looked at trailers for games I already know of. So I could be missing gems. I'm just copying that L for the sake of knowing how good some of what I'm looking forward to is coming out.
Yeah, it's it's very fucking true. Like I watched it, and all I did was watching it. I was like, there's a lot of games out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the two that I want to hit, and then I'll let you guys hit your list. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, ironically produced by a studio that is owned by Embracer Group. Looks absolutely sick. They dropped that it's a co-op campaign, which I don't believe Space Marine 1 was. I need to double check on that. There was multiplayer, but I don't think it was co-op. But I'm super excited for Space Marine 2. Looks so good. I've heard
nothing but good things about the Space Marine game. And Space Marine 2 looks really great.
Game singular.
Yeah, I was about to say games, and I was like, wait, no, hold on, this one's not out yet. It's just a single game at the moment. But no, every trailer I've seen for Space Marine 2 looks really good, and like the hordes are like really impressive in size.
Massive.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's just, it is something I'm interested in. I don't know if I'll get it right away, but just the trailers for it make it look really, really cool.
And then also Alan Wake 2. Big fan of Alan Wake 1. Alan Wake 2 looks much harder to play late at night by myself.
I have one down note for Alan Wake 2, and that's they recently said that the game's going to be digital only. I
heard that actually,
I don't know if there's like a box they're going to sell with a digital code, but even that's kind of stupid. But this is like
I hate that.
Yeah, those deals fucking suck. But no, I think it's weird that it's a game this big being treated like a AAA game. Is this studio AAA at this point?
I would say they were
getting close.
Yeah.
I mean, after how successful Control was, like Control 2 is already in the works, and Control would put anyone on the map to at least probably AA status.
Yeah, I'd say Remedy is, if they're not AAA, then they're definitely AA. But yeah, it's weird seeing a game like this high budget not get a physical release for the people that still buy physical games.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my Game of Christmas wish list. What about you, Seth?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the show, they showed that there is a Prince of Persia game that is going to exist for real. It is not the Sands of Time remake. This is a game that seems to be heavily inspired by Metroid Dread recently releasing, and kind of going back to the roots of the original Prince of Persia game being a 2D platformer. This looks really neat. I'm not 100% on, like, there's just something kind of off of it. I don't know if it's like I don't like the main character's design, or I just don't like the art style meshed with his design. But those aside, this looks really great. More information has been coming out on it, like it's running at 60 FPS even on Switch. It's coming to everything, and it just generally looks like a really cool game. I also had Mortal Kombat 1 getting an extended look.
Bro, that game came out already.
That's coming out again.
Mortal Kombat 1 releasing for the third time. They showed off some more of the cameo system. They showed some actual real gameplay. It looks like Mortal Kombat with assists, which means I probably won't be too into it, but I'll definitely be interested enough to check out the story of it. Not huge. Just gonna get this one off the list really quickly because it's funny. Street Fighter 6 is crossing over with Exoprimal. They're putting Robot Ryu and Robot Guile in there to fight dinosaurs.
I knew you'd fucking bring this up.
It's too funny not to bring up. They're making a new 2D Sonic game. There's a lot of funny stuff behind the scenes about that one. They got Naoto Oshima back, who did the original design for Sonic, and he helped level design Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic CD. He's back in charge with this game. Yuji Naka is in jail, so it's the best of both worlds. Yuji Naka in jail, Naoto Oshima gets his rise to glory to embrace Sonic again, and it looks really good. They're doing an interesting thing where it's got 4-player local multiplayer. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy are all playable. They're bringing back some of the older, forgotten characters. They're going to make a brand new character, and all of the collecting Chaos Emeralds in this game gives you power-ups, which is something I've always thought would have been a neat idea. They've experimented with it before in like Sonic 06, and yeah, just looks really good. Glad that it's a new 2D Sonic game that's coming out looking that good. Let me scroll down the pile a little bit. I think that might... Oh, yeah, they showed off Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Yeah, coming out November 9th. Looks absolutely fantastic. Kiryu is back, looking better than ever. He's got spy gear that looks like it gives him Spider-Man powers, basically. It's mostly a bit of a story tease trailer, but no, these games are always great. I am always there day one to buy these games, even if I don't play them right away. I want to support this series, and yeah, no, everything they're showing for this looks great. And then we go for me personally, the last thing I'll bring up is the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, which I wasn't itching for. Final Fantasy 16 is right around the corner. I can be patient about wanting Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth information, but I'm not going to argue against getting a trailer right now. They're confirming it's coming out in early 2024. They've shown up to for the original game's timeline. They've shown that you'll go up to at least Cosmo Canyon, which is where you get like the big speech about what the live stream is and how that affects the world. They showed that Red 13 is going to be playable. They showed that Yuffie will be joining the party. The team attack stuff they introduced in the intermission DLC is going to be more expanded so that you get more combo moves between the characters in the party. And everything they're showing off is just like, yeah, no, this is Final Fantasy VII Remake, but bigger and better. Looks fantastic. I'm really excited for this. And is there anything that I didn't touch on that you're interested in, Stephen?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Ooh. Ooh. Hang on, I'm just looking at my notes. I am interested in that Yes, Your Grace Snowfall. Fans of the show might remember, probably like 18 months ago I talked about that game. Fantastic. The first game, sorry, Yes, Your Grace. I don't like the art style. It's going for a 2.5D blocky art style. Not a fan, but The storyline is what pushed me through, and it looks like they've cleaned up a lot of like the menus that I sort of did feel like a menu scroller simulator for a bit. So it looks like that looks good. It was very, very, very interesting that Geoff Keighley, when he was introducing Pal World, literally said it's like Pokemon with guns. I am very interested in that game because it does sort of seem like a Pokemon with guns. I've
been really interested in this just for the joke value of it. Like everything that they've shown for this is absolutely hilarious to me. Like actually putting these Pokemon creatures into slave labor.
Yeah, but there's like weird crafting in it.
Peter warned us about.
Oh, Peter is in the organization.
No.
Sorry, I was
not Griffin. No.
Yeah, I was like, what? Family Guy funniest moments. Try not to laugh. Challenge impossible. Yeah, like I don't think I will waste my time with that game, but I will sort of wait and see. Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't played the first two, but I get the feeling as a Dungeons and Dragons fan, I probably should. And number 3 looks fucking fantastic. And every now and then I'll play like an ARPG like this. What are they, CRPGs? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I think these ones are CRPGs.
Yeah, I always. But yeah, I do like playing those, but I just don't really get the chance to because they are like a bit longer and they have a bit more depth to combat than I sort of want. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It was very cool how Marvel Snaps had a weird Pro ZD reference that didn't even reference Marvel Snap.
Yeah, he just made fun of the game mechanics.
Yeah. And then as a final point, just to shit all over it, they announced obviously this was what they was on their docket was pre-planned, but when they announced that Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, I could only think of, hey, Gollum just released last week and it's fucking dog shit. Where do they get off sort of announcing this? And it is a different game, and I think it's even a different studio.
Yeah, it's a different studio entirely.
Yeah, and it didn't look that good, to be honest, just from a graphical point of view. And I'm not like a graphic type of guy by any sense of the word, but it was just, if what they were showing is sort of like what the game's going to be, it didn't look that good. But yeah, I the second I saw that, I'm like, they're really they doubling down on the Lord of the Rings stuff, and I reckon that Gollum has like hurt the brand of Lord of the Rings video games like quite significantly. So either this game will be very good or very bad.
There's one more I want to quickly touch on. I forgot to bring this up. They brought out the director of Spider-Man 2 to come out and announce the release date. But also really funny is that I think Geoff Keighley spoiled the story in this because they showed off two pieces of concept art. One showing the Spider-Man fighting Kraven the Hunter, and then another one showing the Spider-Man fighting Venom. And he's like, so who is it? Who is Venom in this game? Is it Osborn Venom? Is it Eddie Brock Venom? And
oh no!
So we've seen from the other games that Harry Osborn is in a test tube with symbiote around him. So it's pretty likely that Harry Osborn is going to be the Venom in this universe, because they also just straight up said that, yeah, no, it's not Eddie Brock in this. We're doing something different with Venom in this game. And also they put down the release date that this is coming October 20th this year. So it's a bit of delay from the rumored September, but that's like a month delay. Not too much. They probably just need that extra month to polish. And again, like the game that when they showed it off at the PlayStation Showcase looks fantastic. I'm all in on this. Oh, also, that reminds me as well, they announced a collector's edition for this, and the collector's edition, like the God of War one, comes with a digital code for the game, not a physical copy. I understand why, because they have the PS5 that's digital only, but also fuck the people that bought the digital only PS5. Give me a disc.
Fair enough.
Is it?
Well, the right to complain definitely is.
Okay.
Speaking of the right to complain, yeah. I'm sorry.
Fuck, here we go. You're a fucking idiot. I want to kick you in the throat. Don't you fucking do it, Seth.
So, after the PlayStation Showcase, the person that runs the Xbox Twitter account started going on, started throwing shade and throwing rocks, going, yeah, no, we're not going to have CGI at our press conference. It's going to be all gameplay. We're going to show off our dick so hard. The first three trailers they showed at the Xbox Showcase were, for all intents and purposes, CG trailers. I don't know where they get off going, yeah, no, we're not going to do that, and then just have a little blurb at the bottom saying, this is in-engine or in-game graphics. This is not CG. And they do that for the first three games they're showing off the show. Aside from that, it was a really good show. I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah. Fable is still in development hell.
Steven, as the resident Xbox guy, you get first pick.
Yeah. Well, just like every second, it was like world exclusive, and I'm like, fuck, that's cringe. And I'm like, cool. We all know why we're here. You didn't have to say it like that. And it was also cool that they seem to be. And of course, you could sort of come to understand it, but every time that a game was announced for Game Pass, which is like 26 of the 35 games, whatever they showed, it would have like a Game Pass, it'd be like coming to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass. And it's
they treat Game Pass like a different entity now.
They do, and I enjoy that because not all games are coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, I get it, because you need to differentiate between what's coming to Xbox as a paid game and what's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, and that's I like it. But yeah, that was like I did sort of enjoy this showcase better, but I think it's because it showed a lot better games. Like Star Wars Outlaws, which is a Ubisoft's Star Wars
Now,
game.
I'm going to be
we're not-
mean. Star Wars
Oh, fuck, here we
Outlaws
go.
at the Xbox showcase did nothing for me. Xbox Outlaws at the Ubisoft conference did a lot for me.
Xbox Outlaws, eh?
Did I say Xbox Outlaws? I meant Star
you
Wars
did,
Outlaws.
Yeah.
I'm getting my wires crossed. But yeah, Star Wars Outlaws at this show did nothing for me because it was just
it didn't show
trailer.
anything. Yeah, it was just it was an in-game engine trailer.
Yeah, and it was just showing the main character being a girl boss, and that's about it.
Seth, settle down there, big fella.
And Seth can't have that.
No, I'm fine with girl bosses. I just need to know more about the game.
Yeah, like it's a game. Like it's obviously going to be like a weird third-person shooter, and it's obviously that this is going to be a. There's like you've got your Jedi Fallen Order type of thing with lightsabers, and you've got like it's set in the Star Wars universe, but they've got guns, so it's like a.
Should we just talk about everything about this game now? Because I do want to talk about what they showed at the Ubisoft stuff, but do you want to differentiate?
If you want to talk about,
shows?
you know what, Seth, hijack my favorite thing on the fucking docket, man. Go for it.
No. I want to know if you want to differentiate between what they showed here and what they showed at Ubisoft later.
Go for it then. Go for it. That makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, they showed off what the game actually looks like at the Ubisoft showcase, and it honestly looks like a really good game. Like it's got some of that like open world elements. Like they start off showing you invading a base to get get some sort of treasure out of it, then escaping the people from that base. Going and negotiating with crime lords, and then because of the way you negotiated, you get a wanted level on you. So you go into your spaceship and you take off into space from the ground. So there's a bit of a loading screen that's visible there, but it's just like it's fine. But just the entire idea of you go from the planet to space. Like there's this whole level of space around the planet that you get to just kind of dogfight in. Is really cool, and then you actually have to activate hyperdrive to go to different quadrants of the universe. It all looks really cool, and it doesn't seem to have any of that usual Ubisoft stank attached to it. It looks like an actual fun video game and not just a fun Ubisoft game.
Look, we both know what Ubisoft's capable of. Let's not.
It looks like a very big expanded Uncharted. Like if Uncharted let you just freely move between level chunks and like have a world map. It's like a mix of Uncharted gameplay with like Kingdom Hearts level select screen. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. But anyway, going back to I'm excited for that game. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for a Star Wars game.
I think this might be.
I'm not excited for an Ubisoft game.
I think it might be a sleeper hit for next year. If it releases next year, there's a chance it misses that.
Yeah. What else was on there? Persona 3 Reload. So funny story with this game was that some douchebag at Atlas posted the trailer for this game.
At Atlas. He's been fired now.
Well, yeah, I could quite imagine that. Posted the trailer for this. Yes. Posted this and the other Persona 5 Tactica game on the Instagram page like a day before, so everyone sort of knew it was coming out. Fantastic. I'm playing Persona 3 at the moment. They're making a remaster of it. There has been some developer interviews since then that it pretty much confirms that the Persona 3 portable editions, like the edition of the female protagonist, and as well as the Persona 3 The Answer, which is like an expansion pass that was on the PlayStation 2 version of the game.
And a big
Neither of those
epilogue.
are included. Yeah, it's a very long epilogue. And from what I've been reading online, it's just a lot of grinding for no reason. It just sort of does a bunch of closing of things or something.
Yeah, it's got good
Plot
story
points.
elements bogged down by basically just a dungeon crawler grind fest.
Yeah, which is probably not very good. So yeah, so those won't be in it, but I'm still very keen for this game. It looks fucking fantastic.
They did kind of confirm though that the other things that Persona 3 FES added, like the I guess S-Link and the dates with Elizabeth, will probably show up in this. So we're still going to get some of the stuff that they added later on,
Yes.
just not the answer and the female MC.
Yeah, very strange. What
it's one of those things where it's just like people wanted a remake of Persona 3 for so long because they want a definitive version to play the game, and Persona 3 Reload is the definitive version to play Persona 3 Vanilla.
Yeah, the base game, which is fucking... I don't understand how hard can it... Anyway, they had the perfect chance of being the... Maybe they... I don't know. It's fucking weird. But it's coming out to Game Pass day one. Fucking fantastic. Can't wait. Early 2024.
Do you think they'll add FMC and the answer as DLC later? Because they did do DLC for the SMT3 remaster.
It wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't and be like,
no, I'm not hedging bets on it, but if they were going to do it, then they'd do it through DLC.
Yeah. Realistically, it'll probably do like a Persona 5, like Persona 4 Golden or Persona 5 Royal. They'll do a...
But then what would you call this? Persona 3 Reload the Chamber?
Fucking hell. Yeah, and I just want, possibly, and I just want to say this is fucking fantastic naming convention, because for those that don't know, to summon your persona in Persona 3 is like the characters shoot themselves in the head, and that's how they summon it. So to call it Reloaded is fucking hysterical. Ugh. But yeah, coming to Game Pass day one, very excited. Like they announced Like a Dragon 8, which is titled Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It seems that it is the protagonist of Yakuza 7 Ichiban in Hawaii somewhere being naked.
Hawaii or Miami?
Yes, somewhere on the beach in America. Actually, that one's not coming to Game Pass. Very sad.
It's the funniest trailer they could have done. And one of my favorite takeaways from this was that people in the Yakuza writing room are just like, Kiryu would never do this. He would absolutely never be caught in this situation. Put it in the Ichiban pile. We'll use it for him.
Yeah.
I also like that they call it Infinite Wealth because the infinite symbol is an 8 sideways.
Yes, very clever. Very, very clever. Interesting they didn't call it Yakuza. Sorry, Like a Dragon 8. Yeah,
I think they dropped the numbers with Like a Dragon 7.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted it anymore. They just wanted to do the subtitle thing. What else? City Skylines 2. Very, very interested in this game because City Skylines 1 is a fantastic game. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what because the menus and what they showed didn't look that different. Like it's probably more of like content updates rather than quality of life update. But I'm very excited for this, and it's coming to Game Pass. So, do I pick it up on the Xbox and have to play with the controller or something? I don't know, because I'm fucking not doing that. Playing that game on a controller would be fucking nightmare. There's a Cyberpunk 2077 expansion, Phantom of Liberty. They got Idris Elba, and Keanu Reeves himself to come back, and well, Keanu Reeves presented it. I do want to go back to Cyberpunk, see all the changes they've done, all the fixes they've improved. I'm not sure if I will get this expansion, but I'm still very interested to see what it looks like.
Apparently, when this expansion drops, they're also dropping a massive patch for the base games. It's just doing a ton of improvements, like fixing AI, fixing balance, fixing controls, fixing frame rate.
I've been doing that for fucking 3 years.
It's basically going to change the entire experience of the game.
Yeah. Ooh. Yep. So is that, and probably the last one I'll talk about is Metaphor RE Fantasia.
Oh, yeah, just leave nothing for me to talk about.
Yeah, fuck you. I need you to talk about this one. Well, this does seem like a they announced it as like from the makers of Persona 3, 4, and 5. So it is a spin-off of the Persona series, which is interesting because Persona is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series. So this is a spin-off.
This is something we've known about for 6 years, by the way. This was Project 3 Fantasy for so long, and we just haven't heard about anything about that game for like the past 4 years.
Yeah, very, very interesting. It looks very much like the combat they showed, it looks like a Persona 5 type of turn-based combat with like they've got like a heart as a health bar. Does look sort of interesting, generic anime. He's got 2 different colored eyes, and I'm like, oh, Fire Emblem did that at the start of the year. Very interesting.
Yeah, it looks like they're taking Persona and taking it out of the Persona setting, so you're not stuck in doing the high school activities or being stuck in the maybe it'll still do the calendar system, but not having to have time spent doing school stuff, but actually doing a RPG game instead in this fantasy world. That's a good enough twist to like bring in a whole new fresh of eyes on this.
Yeah, I'd be interesting, because Persona without social links, there's just Shin Megami Tensei. So
they still showed that there's going to be social links in this in some capacity.
Oh, do they? I think I must have said
there's like a big screen of showing like you'll still have your social stats. There's a screen of shaking hands, forming bonds with people to get their social links up. This is, for all intents and purposes, just Persona without the school setting.
How couldn't they just done like Persona 6 then and just... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm very excited for it. I think they said this one's coming to Game Pass. And as a broader point, and with the partnership between Xbox and Atlas recently, if I didn't know better, I'd say they're very close to an acquisition. Like, it's just so, like, that's three, like, Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Tactica, and Metaphor RE Fantasio.
That feels like saying that
big Atlas games.
That feels like saying Xbox is close to acquiring Capcom, because Capcom showed off Devil May Cry 5 at their show, and they're showing off a bunch of new games at this show as well. It's just one of those things where they have this partnership. Sega as well has been very friendly with Microsoft recently, and there's no acquisition happening there either. But yeah, no, I think it's just one of those things where Microsoft is just like, hey, we've got these deals coming through with you guys for games on Game Pass. Do you want to do us a solid and let us announce all of these games at our events, since it's going to be a big deal for us having your games on our systems like this?
Yeah.
It's just that push to show, hey, we're getting Japanese games on our system.
Yeah, maybe it'll help it sell more in Japan, because no, the Xbox does not exist.
To the point where for the past couple of days, it seems like all of these games were exclusive to Xbox, but it's recently come out that Persona 3 Reload is coming to everything except Switch, and Persona 5 Tactica is coming to everything. The only thing up in the air at the moment is Metaphor ReFantazio.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see how we go. And one last thing that was announced as well was that for some reason, they announced that they're doing a 1 terabyte Xbox Series S, which I don't think I've never seen that articulated. Like storage space is a problem for your games, etc., etc. But for the Xbox Series S, which had a 500 gigabyte hard drive anyway, solid state. So I don't know who was asking for the 1 terabyte. Maybe they were, but it's just very interesting.
Phil Spencer claims that people were asking for more storage space, so we just have to take his word on it.
Now, what about you, Pat? What are your thoughts? You've been awfully quiet. I know you hate Xbox, but
not really a whole lot to add. The City Skylines was probably the major one for me.
Well, Forza, Forza Motorsport was on there.
The Motorsport doesn't interest me as much as Horizon. I know that Motorsport is kind of the like Gran Turismo, but for Xbox. But I don't know. Circuit racing just I appreciate the experience. Like, I enjoy a good like racing sim setup for a bit, but it's not a game that I typically would spend a lot of time on. The only other one, Payday 3, just because that'll be interesting given how long Payday 2's life cycle was. What they do to reinvent the wheel there.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see that Payday 3 is happening.
Yeah, everything else you guys have already covered, so nothing more from me on that.
Yeah, I've only got one to add, and it's just that Capcom showed off a game called Kinutsugami, Path of the Goddess. Didn't get a lot to glean from that trailer, but it looks really cool and stylized. And it's a Capcom game, so I have absolute and utter faith in it being pretty good.
Yeah, I was listening to the Giant Bombcast like a week ago, and they said it literally might be Capcom's best year. Like, they just seem to... Like, they just can't seem to miss.
Capcom has not been missing for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
No.
It's yeah, pretty much ever since Monster Hunter World, they've really like just been like, you know what?
Look at that.
Good games.
The only thing I can think of since Monster Hunter World that was bad was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
I don't care for that.
Neither did Capcom.
Yeah, no, Capcom literally shelved it after the first season passed. They just cancelled the second one.
Cool.
Like, there's full-on leaks of what characters were going to be in that second season pass. I hate the way that game ended because the roster is uneven. There's one more Marvel character than there is Capcom. So it's not an even 50-50 split on this character select screen, and I hate it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why.
They will, but I won't.
Yeah, that takes you to the end of that. I don't know. We've been talking for like 40 years. I guess, do we want to...
Should we... Yeah, were there any other from the Capcom showcase that was interesting just to knock the rest of those out of the way?
Capcom one real quick. Recently they announced that Mega Man X Dive was going to be shut down. This was their gacha Mega Man X game. They just quickly announced that, yeah, we're going to make an offline version for people to play without the gacha elements in the game. And...
That's so good. That's sick.
You got to pay for it,
Thanks, Capcom.
The Ace Eternity is getting another HD remaster trilogy, this one being called the Apollo Justice one. This is covering Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6. I really liked 1, 2, and 3 last year. I was thinking about getting 4, 5, and 6 on the 3DS to play through those because this was just nowhere in sight. But now that they've announced it, I'm just going to sit on my hands and wait. It's saying it's going to come early 2024. I'm patient enough to play those 3 VNs early next year. And they finally showed off Pragmata again, the big PS5 exclusive they've been working on since they announced they first showed it off when the PS5 was announced, and they just kind of showed, yeah, no, we got to delay it again. We said it was going to come this year. It's not. We're not even going to put a date on it this time. It's just indefinitely delayed until we're ready to hard commit. They showed like 5 seconds of gameplay. That gameplay looks sick. I trust the plan. Capcom hasn't been missing. I trust them to take their time with this.
Exoprimal on the other one to add.
I think that's coming to Game Pass as well.
Yeah, Exoprimal they showed off, but I don't think there's really much new with that. It's just kind of a story trailer to show, yeah, there's going to be a story in this.
I don't really think... yeah, we played the beta, Saif, not together because they didn't have crossplay, but that was a very interesting game. Like, you're in mechs and your dinosaurs came down and you go shoot them.
Actually, the one thing I do like about this trailer is that they showed that there are going to be significantly more game modes than what I played in the beta, and they're even doing things like 10-player co-op missions rather than having PvP splits. And there's just going to be modes in this where it's just your team completes the objective faster and we rip out the PvP element, so whatever team completes the objectives faster just wins that match. Oh, actually, one more last thing. They also said that Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be 4 times the size of the original Dragon's Dogma, which is delicious news to have because the original Dragon's Dogma was cut in half, then cut in half again. So this is basically going, this is the original size of the game we wanted to make.
Excellent.
And yeah, that's everything Capcom related, so it's just Ubisoft forward.
Yeah, I don't care for those.
I'll get a couple of Ubisoft bits that were interesting to me out of the way. Motorfest, kind of interesting.
It's Forza Horizon, but the crew.
Yeah,
pretty much. I was really skeptical of the cinematic introduction initially, just because none of it, like, this is not in-game footage put everywhere, and it looks just like a Horizon trailer, which is all in-game footage. And they showed me what's what with a gameplay trailer that wasn't necessarily what gameplay is, but was recorded in-engine at least at 4K. So, I don't know. I really didn't like the crew because of how papery all of the car's handling models felt, but I'm a little interested at least. I think it's going to take quite a lot to knock Horizon off its perch, though.
Yeah, no, that's
that was the only one. That was the only one from Ubisoft that was interesting to me. What about you guys?
I have 2, but I'll let Steven knock off any if he's got them first.
Not really. Like, I'm sort of excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage, and they did like a bit of a Assassin's Creed Jade, which is just Japanese Assassin's Creed.
That's Chinese one.
Chinese, is it? I watched a trailer, but I didn't have the sound on.
They're doing both a China game and a Japan game. This one's a China one because one, Jade is a really important stone in China, and also it's a mobile game, which is probably the biggest platform in China to hit.
I didn't realize it was a mobile game. Okay, never mind then. I literally, I pressed play on that, I saw it, and that was sort of it. I didn't.
Yeah, I barely paid attention to that one as well. Mirage, though. Mirage is making me fall for the Ubisoft trap, for the Assassin's Creed trap, because it looks like a sequel to Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah.
It looks really good. As much as I shit talk Ubisoft, when they hit good. They're the junk food of video games, and sometimes I just want a Big Mac called Assassin's Creed.
Back to the heavy specimen chat, huh?
Very much a heavy specimen chat.
Yeah.
But this is hitting all the right notes for what I want an Assassin's Creed game to be.
It's not out yet. Let's let them cook. When is that coming out? Soon?
Soon, yes. I think it was October. Yes, October 12th.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sort of it. They did like a collaboration with that weird skateboarding game, the rollerblading game with Jet Set Radio, which sort of makes me think that they haven't forgotten about that. But where is it? Where's the game? Bomb Rush Cyberpunk comes out soon.
If this was a month from now, I would have played it. But this event is happening 5 days after Final Fantasy 16 releases, so there's no chance of me playing this. As much as I love Jet Set Radio, it's not pulling me away from Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, can't wait for that review. But yeah, that's pretty much everything.
The two I want to quickly bring up is, real quick, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I just think Ubisoft doing an Avatar game is really funny. And from the gameplay they showed, to me, it just looks like Far Cry with an Avatar skin on top of it.
Well, it's an Ubisoft game, so that is exactly what they were going to do.
Yeah, that's why the Star Wars one surprised me so much, because it doesn't look like a reskinned Ubisoft game. It looks like a fresh new thing from them. The other thing I want to quickly bring up is the guy Adi Sakar, I think his name is. I'm forgetting it off the top of my head, but he's the guy he's like the lead creative director of Castlevania Netflix. He's doing a show for Ubisoft called Captain Laserhawk: A Blood Dragon Remix. I'm glad to see that like Blood Dragon is just spawning into its own thing and not just being hard connected to Far Cry now. And it's just this generic neon cyberpunk thing that Ubisoft can do whatever they want with. It'd be nice if they did another game for it, but I also really liked Castlevania Netflix, so I'll give this show a watch.
Neat.
Cool. Yeah, that's the last of the Ubisoft stuff for me.
Ooh.
Sweet. And
bit of a long one.
I think we get to the end of the news for all of us.
Yeah, the pile has been sorted.
Ooh. Gaming Christmas is officially over.
Until they announce a Nintendo Direct.
And apparently that's rumored to be coming in 2 weeks.
Now, I know that I cliffhangered at the start that we would get some Spider-Verse chat, but what better way to end Gamer Christmas than with another cliffhanger? And we're going to end up pushing that to next week. Also because we've been going way longer than we thought. So back to the original scheduled formatting. We are at the end of the news and therefore at the end of episode 77. No audience question for this week, obviously. But if there is anything you want us to discuss when we eventually do have time, because it's not Gamer Christmas and everyone's cramming to do their own version of E3, get in touch. We're on Facebook.
Get in touch with how many Krispy Kremes you can eat.
You want to take the challenge right now? Go see how many Krispy Kreme donuts you can fit in your hole right now.
Chubby Bobby with Krispy Kremes?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I tried. We're on Facebook, Fast Travel Lounge, Twitter at Fast Travel Lounge -1 of the L's, and good old Fast Travel Lounge at gmail.com. giving us a like or a comment on your podcast platform of choice really helps us out. And I think that's basically everything. Discussion for episode 78. Spider-Verse chat. Wahoo. No more Monster Hunter chat. Sad, but probably necessary. Maybe Borderlands chat. Who knows? Anything that you guys want to quickly tease?
I don't know if I'll have anything to talk about. Maybe I'll watch a movie, but I'll be trying to hit up. Yeah, maybe Spider-Verse a second time. If I finish Tears of the Kingdom, I'll talk about that, I guess. But I doubt that. That's a very big game.
You know what I'll be finishing? A fucking 12-pack of Krispy Kremes. You got me hungry, fellas. Because it's winter, it's Balkan season as well.
You know what? I'm going to go to KFC and get a Zinger box.
Now?
I mean, I can do it on recording if you want. Let me just switch over my microphone to Discord on mobile.
You know what? Let's we'll send that.
Anyway, that's what we have to look forward to in episode 78. But at least until then, I've been Patrick. I've been joined by Saif and Steve. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday, Grimace's takeover of McDonald's.